Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is August 8th, a Monday, and this episode is brought to you by my fantastic sponsor, El Cajon Harley. That's right, the number one motorcycle dealer in California and the sponsor of Let There Be Talk, exclusive motorcycle sponsor. Everybody always asks me, hey, man, where should I get a motorcycle? El Cajon Harley. Don't go anywhere else. I don't want to hear about you going somewhere else. Email me and I'll put you personally in touch with the head man down there, Greg Riley, so you can get yourself a fantastic Harley Davidson. Or maybe you just need some service on your bike now or some tires. They got the guaranteed lowest price tires going. So get yourself all tuned up, or some motor clothes, or a helmet, or anything. Or maybe just go there and hang out and annoy them. Say, hey, I'm just here to hang. When I used to sell Harleys, dudes would come every day. Just every day. Like at 4 in the afternoon. Here comes no worky done. And then they just park, use your fucking cleaners, and then ride off. So don't do that. Go to El Cajon Harley. I love these guys, man. They are also comedy fans, so what better sponsor to have than a Harley Davidson dealer that are comedy fans? Of course, I love motorcycles, and I know you guys do too. Don't be afraid. Buy a bike and get out there and see America. Go to Sturgis tomorrow. That's what you ought to do. Just go buy a bike and ride to Sturgis tomorrow. Quit your job. Who cares? Also, if you think you can't get financing, you're wrong, man. I always used to think that. Go in there. They'll get you financed. And Harley has amazing rates going right now. So get a Harley Davidson from El Cajon Harley. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter. Follow them on Facebook. And whatever. Follow me down there and we'll get you a bike. Let's do it. Come on. All right, everybody. Yeah, the episode is late. To say I've been burning the candle at both ends would not be a lie. I flew in from New York yesterday afternoon, came home, thought I was going to kick back, and then I get a text from the Sheepdogs. They said, we're in town, we're playing. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to go to that. And Quaker City Nighthawks were opening, which is a band Marin turned me on to a couple months ago that I absolutely love too. And boom, there I am in the shower, delirious, throw on some duds, get on the bike, head downtown, and see the bands. And I'm glad I did. You only live once, as corny as that sounds. Fuck it. I'll sleep when I die. People say that, all that shit, but it is true. Don't waste minutes. You know what I mean? Don't be lazy. Get off the couch. Go do shit. And I'm glad I went last night because both bands crushed. And I got to tell you, man, fucking Sheepdogs. Both bands crushed. But Sheepdogs did a version of Whippin' Post by the Allman Brothers that just fucking melted me. It sounded exact. And usually when you do a cover, you don't want to sound exact. You want to put your own spin on it. But also to see somebody do something exact that is so hard as the Allman Brothers sound is next level to me. Is next level. And Sheepdogs and Quaker City Nighthawks rocked it last night. Get these guys records, man. Support them. They are fucking great. Anyway, 1985, 86. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think it might have been early 86. And the way I figured it out was Howard the Duck was out at the time, in the movie. I take a vacation to Los Angeles. Catch wind that there's this band I must see who has an incredible front man that is, you know, some would consider the all-time best front man. And that man is my guest today, Mr. Richard Black. The band was Shark Island. I went and saw the band. I never forgot the night ever. And I'm 50 years old, and that was in 1985 or 6. That's how monumental this gig was to me. And this man, he plays rock for around 10 or 11 years and disappears completely. This interview you're going to hear is his first interview, I believe, in years. And it was one of the highlights of this show for me, of all time, to have this guy on. And you'll find out why. I don't want to just keep babbling on about it, because this show means a lot to me, and this episode means a lot to me, and it's just insane to be able to talk to somebody you saw in 1986 that had such an impact on you, and be able to talk to him for hours in 2016. Just insane to me. So I don't want to babble any longer. I want to get right to the show and get the episode out. So sit back and enjoy this. And when it's done, please go check this guy's music out on iTunes, Shark Island. And do yourself a favor. If they come around ever, go see him or hit YouTube. Whatever you got to do, get involved and see this. Here he is, Mr. Richard Black. All right, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. Unbelievable guest today. I can't believe it. You knocked on my door. I said it's like a ghost. Introduce yourself, man.
Richard Black there. I'm the lead vocalist, I guess, of Shark Island, and the principal songwriter. Here I am.
I can't... first of all, I wanted to show you something. I wanted to see your response to these photos I took.
You already showed me. You know, I got this sent to me, and we were in the middle of having a conversation about some promo shots because of this cruise thing we're doing. You know, and I'm like, well, I don't even have any shots. And all of a sudden, this came through.
Yeah.
While I was talking, and I just floored me. These shots are so outrageous.
What?
I wish this was television.
Isn't it crazy?
What I mean? It's like crazy stuff. It's so great.
Those fucking...
And I'm going to steal them from you.
Yeah, I'll scan them. I'll scan them all for you. You can have them all. You know what's funny about this? Can you tell what year it is from the outfit?
Not really. You know, I used to change outfits like almost every show. Probably.
Right.
I don't think I ever wore the same outfit more than like 3 times, you know, because they were all, you know, custom made and they weren't even... often they weren't even sound enough to wash them, so you just kind of wore them until you stunk them up, and then you tossed them. So
I'll give you a little back pedal on this right here.
All right.
I was playing music in in San Francisco, growing up in the Bay Area.
Uh-huh.
And I was playing at the Stone quite a bit.
Right.
Some guy said, man, I just saw this fucking front man in this band, Shark Island. And I was like, wait, I know all the bands in LA, you know what I mean? And this is early. So that is 85, 86.
If I had to guess, it was probably around that time.
Well, the reason I know is I took a picture of Gazzari. This is at the Whisky. And I took a picture of Gazzari's on this same trip. Right. Because you had the paintings on the wall.
Right.
And there was a painting for a promotion for Howard the Duck. So the movie. You
just had it back.
Yeah.
Research it. Okay.
Yeah, and I was about a year or two out of high school. I take a trip to LA. I'm staying at the Travelodge across the street from Guitar Center. And your band happens to be playing. I go, wow, I got to go fucking see this. I've been hearing about this guy. I go in, sit through some shitty bands, you know, and then it's totally fucking wall to wall, sold out. This massive blue banner, huge, says Shark Island, blue mic stand, come on. And I never forgot it. And I've seen thousands of concerts.
Right. I hear that from time to time. That, and it's funny when you contrast that from your experience to what it really was. And at the time, during that time, we were a very prolific band. We used to play 6 nights a week.
Wow.
And during the week, it was 4 shows a night. We were playing like little bars. We were playing, laundromats, whatever, because that's what we did. We didn't have a day job. That's what we did. And our gig at the time happened to be that we were playing at Gazzari's every, Friday and
house
Saturday.
band.
Essentially it became the house band. And you know what? Even though Van Halen did the same thing, and we were kind of like modeling, I go, well, it kind of worked for them. They were playing, because I remember I used to go see Van Halen when I was in high school. I used to go down to Gazzari's and watch them do the dance contest and so forth, right? So I figured, well, that's what we're doing. But most importantly, in my mind, it was a way of just making the band available in Hollywood on the Sunset Strip every single week. And we were just playing all the time. I mean, we just permanently smelled of cigarettes, constantly, because we were there all the time. Everything was just going. But back to that background drop story. I was so sick and tired of seeing Gazzari's.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't want to speak ill of the dead or anything, but it was just, the club was kind of tacky. It was a kind of a tacky club, especially when you compare it to, the Roxy or the Whisky,
right,
or the Starwood, even with that, it was just kind of like a tacky place, but it was like literally not even 50 yards away from the Rainbow, and I figured, I go, how do I bridge this, and how do I get around it? What do we do to work around it? And I said, well, I want to make a backdrop to cover the entire back wall of Gazzari's.
Yeah.
And the thing was huge.
It was huge.
It was huge. And we put everything behind it. We put all the equipment behind it, all the amps, everything except the drums, and us in front of this big backdrop. And if you were filming it or taking a picture of it, it looked like you could have been anywhere, And that was the intent at the time, because I just didn't want to be there, yet I was there, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was getting tired. We were, 2.5 years doing it. I mean, every single weekend, 2.5 years.
Yeah, that gets a little monotonous, right?
But we had to work. We had to put food on the table and do that kind of stuff. And then we do a show like this. Photo here was from the Whisky. So on top of all that, we'd have to do a Whisky show, and then draw that out too, because people knew that they can see it there. But it was going really well, and it was pretty spectacular. And when I think back on what we accomplished with essentially we're self-managed. We were just working. I figured my thought was that eventually somebody will recognize it. And it was always this big pie in the sky. Oh, we're trying to get signed. Everybody was trying to get signed. That was like the buzzword. Get signed, even though when I think back, I don't even think anybody even knew what that meant. It was just like, that was the buzzword. Well, we're going to get signed, And
this is like, because you got to think, you start in 79. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I've had a lot of guys on that were right in the middle of that weirdness of Los Angeles. Of course, we know about it right after, say, 87, 88, after Crew and Quiet Riot and stuff, where it becomes all the flyers on the poles, the clubs are full and everything. But that weirdness of in between, and I talked to Y&T about it, Dave Medichetti, of 79 is kind of new wave and punk on the Strip.
Right. We didn't know where we were going to go.
Yeah, you had Van Halen, of course, but they there was like one band off the Strip, and they weren't, it wasn't known as the Strip bands back then. They were just a working band.
No, they truly did blaze the trail, and they were actually, I think, responsible for actually the shift of bands doing cover material versus original material, because Van Halen was a full-on cover band.
Totally.
I mean, that's what they did all the time, and then little by little they started introducing their little, their original. Of course, me, I'm from Pasadena, and so are they. So I've seen them dozens of times in backyard parties, doing their original stuff. I already knew it, but it was just one of those ice-breaking events that you needed to do to get on the Strip and actually pull off an original. That was like unheard of, But after they passed through, everyone was doing originals, and it just everything twisted. But like you said, no one knew exactly what direction we're going. You know, the metal thing with the leather and studs,
British invasion,
you know, and then there was like this glam thing, like, you know, like Hanoi Rocks and New York Dolls and things like that. It was that age, and then soon thereafter there was like the new wave thing. You know, there was starting
knack.
to rear its head. The knack and
what was your original vision?
Well, my original
in
vision,
'79.
my original vision was more of a proper glam band. It really was. We wore tight clothes. We kind of
like Sweet.
modeled up. Not a Sweet. That was a little bit too poppy. But this is more like New York Dolls or something
Right.
like that. It was a little bit kind of raunchy, but a little bit, you know, crazy with the outfits, you know, and no real leather or that kind of stuff. But then soon thereafter, you know, when everybody was kind of vying for it, you know, Motley Crue I think brought back the leather and studs thing, and it was
They really did on the Live Wire record, Too Fast for Love,
and everything kind of took off that direction. So we kind of at that point we made you know small adjustments to kind of go there, but we were never really a heavy metal band. I mean, proper.
Yeah.
You know, I always used to joke that we were the worst heavy metal band in the world. We weren't a heavy metal band. It was a hard rock band. But at the time, everything was so labeled. I remember clearly when there used to be record stores. You know,
Yeah.
You probably remember. You go into like Music Plus was like the place that sold albums, and you go inside, and then there was all the sections. Okay, there was pop rock, and there you would find everything from AC/DC to
Def Leppard,
Def
like early
Leppard,
High and Dry.
But also you would find some other things that that really didn't even belong there. You know, Whitney Houston was in that thing. Well, what are you doing in there? And then there was a small little section called heavy metal.
Yeah.
And these was like the big heavy metal players. I mean,
Maiden.
Syria. Yeah, the serious guys.
Saxon.
And all of a sudden I'm going, exactly. And I'm like going there, and all of a sudden I find my album, and that I go, oh, we don't belong here. We're getting our asses kicked with these guys. You know? I don't belong in that one. I wanted to be in that one, but it was hard to navigate. You know, we were self managed, like I said, so we didn't really know what the thing was. We were just kind of, you know, learning as we went, you know, and I guess we're a little naive about it all, but I take that back, very naive about it when I think back. You know, when I think back of the boatload of bad decisions I've made along the way, you know, but that's how it went. So everything just kind of went here and there, and then there kind of developed, kind of came out like a hybrid kind of. They called it glam band, they called it glam music, they called it hair band, but you could wear, you know, heavy metal stuff, but you can also wear glam stuff, and then you had bands like, you know, Warrant, Poison, and
Jet Boy, Vane, all that stuff.
All that stuff was kind of in that thing.
Right.
And,
it's funny they call that hair metal because it's such a lazy term to me.
It was
because there's no metal in it at all. It's hair rock. I never understand why it was never called hair rock if you're going to label it, is what I'm saying. There's zero metal in anything they play on Hair Nation. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to ask yourself who came up with these terms.
Yeah.
You know, who's naming these things? Hey, who's in charge of this? I mean, I always think everything is very orderly, and there's person here, a person there. But so who's making these decisions? Who's bringing the hammer down and
we're calling it hair metal.
That's hair metal, and that's final. That's what it's going to be. So, and then we weren't even a really good hair metal band. I mean, I was just like, I was just kind of going, well, all right, we're hair metal, really.
What was some of your early influences? Of course, you're saying when you got the first idea, we're talking 79, 80, it's called The Sharks. And of course, you're into, like you said, Hanoi Rocks, let's say, or New York Dolls or whatever. But growing up, what were the bands for you? Because your vocals are incredible, and your style, your clothing, your moves, everything really fucking knocked me out. And I'm telling you, it was probably only an hour gig, and I remember it to this day. When you played "Read My Lips," I was like, could be the best song I've ever heard on the Strip. Wow,
that's a nice compliment. Thank you. Yeah, it was some really magical things happening there, but if you can kind of put yourself, I know you've dabbled in music as well. I mean, if you put yourself in that situation when you're really spending the big bulk of your life essentially on stage or rehearsing, I mean, constantly, these magical things would come on that where you're actually almost reading the minds of the people that are playing with you. We've done it so many times, and we can. I can give a quick look to somebody, or they can give a look to me. We know where we're going exactly, and sometimes we'd have these magical moments with these songs, and they were designed such that we could extend them or shorten them as needed. If everything was going good, everybody was kind of hypnotized. We can push this for a while. And really,
almost jamming a jam band, but without the hippie jam of it.
Right.
But yeah, you kind of know. And it's funny. I always tell people I do comedy now, and I've done over 3,000 shows. I think I only had about 10 of those out experienced body gigs playing music over tons of gigs, but comedy totally. So I can relate with you. It's like crowd work. Your material's working. You're riffing. Everything becomes this fucking thing.
Yeah, and you can't do that on purpose. That stuff that comes from just being there. If you do 3,000 shows, for crying out loud, you're just like going. I mean, I know you know what I'm talking about. Those are those magic moments that only come when you're just doing it over and over and over and over, and that's what we did. I mean,
so what was the music as a child?
Well, the music as a child, I used to bust into my sister's Rolling Stones records.
You're out in Pasadena.
Out in Pasadena.
Are your parents rockers?
My parents were immigrants from Europe. And they came over here, and I was born in Pasadena, and my sister was actually born in Europe too. But she would have the albums, and I would sneak and listen to them. Basically, Rolling Stones, Cream, and Beatles, that sort of thing. And then later on, when I started to discern things for myself, I was like, Led Zeppelin, which is in a kind of a category of its own, and then of course the early Aerosmith, which is in my opinion different than the later Aerosmith. Completely different band.
Total. It's like Def Leppard, On Through the Night, High and Dry. Who's that band? But when you're talking about Sight for Sore Eyes, Draw the Line, that kind of they're like a funk band almost. It's like dum dum bum 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 dum dum. That shit is insane.
They were really something.
Was that some of your influence for the outfits and stuff?
Yeah, it's probably
because Tyler was wearing those striped suits.
Tyler used to wear like lots of scarves and things hanging and stuff, and I remember going to a show once and being really kind of taken by the way like the fans. I don't mean a fan, not a fanatic, but actually the physical wind blowing machines. Catching his outfit and creating a kind of a neat look to play off. So I remember being influenced, by that, and then I got into the music bands that weren't like super huge, like UFO.
Unbelievable.
Loved UFO.
Unbelievable. And later you play with Shanker or whatever, But I mean,
I tripped on that, believe me, because I found myself all of a sudden, I had learned the entire UFO catalog, and all of a sudden I'm playing with Michael Shanker, and I'm going, this is very strange.
I think of you a lot like Shanker, the mystique that you have, and even right now. I mean, when I posted that I was going to do this interview, and believe me, I've been trying to do this interview for about a year, and because I had Tracy on a few times, and I was like, hey, do you know where Richard is? And he's like, I don't know. I have no idea. And I was like, I got to find this guy. And then I ran down a rabbit hole, which I think is fucking amazing as far as having some mystique. It's so gone now. But back in the days when you and I loved music, the mystique was there.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't really into like doing the big hangouts. I was really selective of where I went and hang out. I don't think I was purposely trying to create something to be mystique. It was just kind of the circumstances and the kind of the type of person I am. I'm really kind of a private person, and generally I don't really like talking just off the top of my head. I like when I'm performing, and this is this is kind of a performance, but
Right.
but it's pretty comfortable, and I thank you for having me. This is really a nice situation here. But when I'm performing, I like to know what's happening. I like to rehearse it, and I like to do it because I think it is still show business. I'm not doing an improv show, like an improv comedy show or something. I like to know what's happening. I like to know what's going to happen. Like, let's get it going. People pay good money. They want to be entertained, and the way I can guarantee that is to give them something that I already know. I already know the outcome. It's like a lawyer. Never
Is it a
ask
control
question.
thing, or because I get it? Sometimes when I do other people's podcasts, I'm like, man, I don't know, but you know what I mean?
Well, it is in a sense it's control in
Right.
a sense, but it's more quality control,
Right.
And that's what it's more like. Because some days, hey, I'm sure many people are like that. Some days I'll be really hot, and I'll be really clever, and I'll say all the great things, and sometimes I'll be, I don't know, do I want to take a chance like that? Not really. I'd rather know what's going to happen, like I said, so.
Yeah. I always laugh when I'm doing interviews and the person is really surface and they go right for the groupie conversation. I already know that this is going to go nowhere because they miss the whole art of being a musician.
No,
but yeah, I get what you're saying.
That wasn't ever my drive. It's nice to be, inquired about, or people to be curious with what you're doing, because it is an interesting lifestyle. It's an interesting career to be that, to be in music and to do this, and it requires a lot of work, and that, and but it is an art form, and there's lyrics, and there's sacrifice, and there's rehearsal, and there's a lot of lost time, and there's a lot of bad decisions, and there's a lot of flops.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. But when people find out what you're doing, they want to know what it's like. A lot of people get kind of trapped in circumstances about with a job, and then a family, and then there's kids, and they can't do so.
Oh God, I can relate with you in more ways than one. It
happens all the time. And it's kind of sad. But then comes a band or someone like what I have to offer, to give them an escape, to give them a moment of
totally
away from it.
Let's talk about, so you're sneaking in your sister's room, you're listening to Aerosmith, UFO, stuff like that.
Right.
And then what's your first concert?
My first concert was at a place called, it was in Arcadia. It was a place called Marquee West, which was it's a play on the Marquee, right? I played with these guys. This guy, guitar player, owned a music store, and so we had all the equipment we needed. So we made a big showing, and we played a bunch of cover songs. And that was it. That was that was a long time ago.
Well, how old were you?
Well, I was probably 17.
Wow.
Probably 17.
And you knew you were going to be the singer right out of the gate. Could you sing, or did you have to take lessons?
Yeah, I knew. I didn't take lessons till a few years later, but it wasn't that hard. My concern was, this actual the stage presence part of it. The vocals were like, that was pretty easy. You can practice that anywhere in the shower, in the car, but to do that, you need to either be on stage, or you need a studio, and you need to, and if you're only going to play a 45-minute show, usually during rehearsals, you generally don't, do a lot of things, because a lot of times you don't have the room.
Yeah. Or you feel kind of
you feel kind of weird in front of everybody.
Right?
Yeah, you do. But I quickly got past that, because once I decided what I was going to do, I said, well, it doesn't matter what they think. Really, really doesn't matter what they think at all. They're here.
Yeah.
And they're already made a choice to be here. Now I have to make sure that I am, visually interesting to anybody who's going to watch.
How do you create this vision? Because I had Butch Walker on recently, and he said when he was working with Weezer, there was a period where the front man, he wants to go take frontman lessons.
Yeah, I should have thought of that and made a frontman school.
Yeah, man.
Frontman
Well,
college.
I think a shitload of people, including myself, when we go see you, immediately learned like, oh, I'm not even close to a frontman yet, because the things that you were doing, your outfits, the way you could spin a mic stand. I remember I ran home. I had a guy weld a ball bearing on the end of the part where the mic stand goes, because it looked like you were just spinning it and there was a ball bearing there. I was like, it's got to be that. How's he spinning it? But the mic stand in one spot. And then the fans on Read My Lips, it was like you're on a pirate ship, and the moves, everything about it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like it. And of course, I'd seen Diamond Dave many times up to 86. I'd seen Diamond Dave already 4 or 5 times, and Steven Tyler. But it was something different. It was mostly just, it was a whole package, you know? It was almost like Angus, but a different thing. But Angus was like, what the fuck, you know?
Well, you know, the way I always approached it is, you know, during my music listening time, when I would listen to this music, these records and stuff, and my favorite way was either to have, you know, really over-the-ear headphones or some speakers and put them down on the ground and lay my head in between them, and then just really get into the depth of the music, you know, and you know, anything that's been recorded multi-track has multi-layers that you don't really hear on the first.
Right.
On the first list. I think right now in the age we live in, we've kind of in a way polluted our listening just because of the medium that we listen to our music in.
It's all squished.
It's either squished, it's in the earbuds, it's in small. I mean, when I was a kid, we had stereos was 300 watts, you know, it's like serious stuff, you know, high fidelity. And, you know, I would, you know, close my eyes and just listen deeply into these tracks, you know, and these images and these movements and these colors and these patterns, they just showed up in my mind. It was like a hallucination. I can just picture it. So I said, well, you know, I'm hearing it, and it is just so fantastic. I know that if I could make someone else hear that and experience that, they too will like it. Yeah. So I took my I took my job as a singer as being a type of conductor. I was like the conduit between the musicians and the people. I wasn't quite a musician, but I wasn't in the crowd. Right. But I'm going to be a conductor, and I will illustrate the song to you with my movements. Wow. And that's how I approached it. It was always just that. So it was you know, because I don't I'll always say, you know, I don't consider myself a musician. I really don't. I just hang out with musicians like drummers, right?
You don't play any instruments?
Well, I do, but I would never do it in public just to figure something out. Right. I'm a hack as far as music goes. I wrote a couple songs, but I have to refer to a real serious player and say, look, I can hear, like look Spencer, at this, I got this and this and this, and I want this to go like that, and they can work it out. So I can do that kind of stuff. And then, but my biggest thing was like, you know, the melodies and the lyrics, you know, and then try to see. So if you're singing a song and you're talking about something, and you have to your move, it's not enough just to speak it. You have to demonstrate it. Yeah. You have to demonstrate the word and the line, because that's what I want them to hear. It's like almost like, okay, here it comes, get ready, here it is. Yep. And you have to prime everybody's listening, because they know it's something that's going to come. And then all of a sudden you can do a move, and you can accentuate a change in the music, something that's just different. All of a sudden, then they get to see that, and they go, wow. So they saw it and heard it and felt it and got to experience it. So that's how I approach it. So it's all kind of a necessity thing than anything else. And then you know, you spend enough time on stage, and then you learn this. You go, gosh, I'm gonna try a little thing here and do it, and it doesn't work for a couple weeks.
You're just learning it on stage?
You're just doing it, and you're just doing it over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden
do you remember, like, all of a sudden when you really transformed into the, like, Richard Black that I saw, do you remember your band members like, fuck, look at this guy, our front man? Do you remember that?
When it happened, I remember it was probably around 1977 or something, and I was like,
You were doing that shit back then in your first band before the Sharks?
I was starting it.
Wow.
I wasn't as good. It was just
Right.
I was developing. I was still, working on my craft, and I didn't really want to, at that point, watch anybody else at all. I didn't want to even hear him. And in the same type of way that I didn't want to, occasionally we would do cover songs, but at some point, I didn't want to hear the cover song anymore because I didn't want it to influence me anymore because it was always, okay, that now if we're going to do a cover song, we're going to do it our ways.
Right.
We'll do, do a Little Dance by Casey and the Sunshine Band, like hard up, heavy bitching.
Yeah, I like how you did when you did the Fleetwood Mac. You gotta if you're gonna do a cover, you gotta blow it away. So so I just kind of was starting to develop it, and I really took a turn when we there was an ad on KNAC. There was some group of people in North Hollywood. Oh, where are you a lead singer? And do you think you have what it takes? It was essentially a contest. Yeah.
That they bought spots on KNAC, which at the time, a spot on KNAC in 1977 or 78 was probably like $60.
Yeah. What a station.
It was not.
What a station.
Oh yeah,
right?
it was a great station.
Yeah, but I get it.
No, actually not. I got it. I have to.
K-Rock?
It was K-Rock.
Gotcha.
It was K-Rock.
Yeah.
But okay.
They were in a hotel in Pasadena early on with Fraser Smith,
Right, exactly.
Fraser Smith right here.
You're right, exactly. So anyway, I answered this ad, and it was like a cattle call of 300 people showed up, and I got the gig, and it was a band called Pretty Poison out of North Hollywood.
It was a contest to sing with the band.
Yes. So
and did the band pay for the ads?
Yes, the band,
wow, that's genius.
Yeah, it was
That's
genius.
pre-Band Magazine and Recycler and everything.
Yeah, it was very innovative, and they obviously had some money, and I'm not even going to get into why they had money, but
great.
They had some money to spend. It wasn't like it was nothing like what I'd done with the guys at the music store.
Right.
This was like all of a sudden I'm in North Hollywood, and these guys were like, wow, they're older than me. These guys are badass. How
did the contest work? Did they do it at like FM station or something, and all the singers came down?
Well, they did it originally with demo tapes, and then they whittled it down to a certain number, and then there was full on scheduled rehearsals. You just come into their studio one at a time, and I had a time slot that I had to show up, and we did something, and I got it. I was like, cool, but. That meant I had to drive to North Hollywood every day for the next 2 years.
And what kind of music was it? Was it 70s rock?
It was like it was like the New York Dolls. It was like that kind of thing. It was we had choruses and melodic, but it was heavy. The guys dressed in a couple of guys in the big hard ass outfits with studs and had big fancy guitars and big equipment and big hair. And it was just ostentatious, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool.
And you're young. That was like me when I jammed with guys. They were older with mustaches and in their 20s.
I was really young, and I was like, relatively speaking, I was pretty inexperienced. I was still cutting my teeth trying to, make it, trying to develop myself. So I was still a bit derivative of my influences, but making good progress. But I was able to, with the amount of shows we had, I started getting some seat time, or in this case, some stage time.
Right.
And
where are you guys playing?
We were playing at the Troubadour and the Whisky and Starwood and FM station places in North Hollywood. We would play. It wasn't as much as Shark Island played, but we would definitely play at least every weekend. At a nice place.
And that had to kind of feel like you made it, right?
I kind of felt like I made it at first, but like the dangling carrot, it just keeps going on and on. I keep, I think, oh, wow, well, this is going to be really great, and when you get used to it, you get complacent, and you move on there. It's like going somewhere on vacation. It's, to another town. You go, this place is great. I want to live here. But if you live there, you're gonna say, it becomes home, and you have to go and you have to do your laundry. So, so it's the same type of thing. It's always something that just moves on and moves on. And you know what? It's still moving on. Yeah. Even now, I took I took bloody 10 years off, and I said, I'm not going to do this crap anymore. This is way too much trouble for, what I'm getting out of it. And there's too many people involved, too many handouts, and there's always a Judas in the mix somewhere. Always. And I was just like fed up with it. And I just walked away from it. And that was, now all of a sudden here I am again.
So you leave that band, and in like 79, you meet Spencer. And you've been working with him ever since, if you did any kind of Shark Island stuff, which, by the way, I read a side note on him. Give him fucking hats off. He helped design the BC Rich Warlock.
That's right.
Which is one of the fucking best guitar bodies of all time.
He worked at the BC Rich factory, and he actually, I don't know if I can say it, he owns the very first Warlock and the very last Warlock.
Whoa.
Built at BC Rich, the proper company.
Yeah.
And
those are worth paper.
Oh yeah. They're pretty serious. So.
Where do you meet him at?
Well, I met him through a girlfriend. I left the gig out in North Hollywood because I don't know, it just wasn't going the way. I just thought I'm gonna take a little break, walk away, and I was going to this rehearsal hall that my girlfriend showed. I know these guys are in a band, so I went there, and it was like nothing like I was interested in at all. It was just like. It was like Bebop Deluxe, I don't even know if you know that band or not. No. But it was very kind of like weird poppy, like, I can't explain. It was, if heavy metal and this genre of music is blues based, this was like bluegrass based. You know what I mean? It was like really a lot different. It was like kind of like. It was like Bay City Rollers almost. And I mean, it really wasn't interested.
Like early Cheap Trick or something, huh?
Yeah, it was like it was like coming in Cheap Trick. It's like leaving, Black Sabbath and then hanging out at Cheap Trick studio, and that's what it was like. And I was just like looking for a place to, drink some beers and, do some whatever, So I just started to hang out there and listen and stuff, and then I inevitably started just saying, hey, giving him some tip. You should do that like that, or you shouldn't really do that. Not gonna do anything for you at all. So I just started like molding the guys.
Just hanging out in the studio,
hanging out, making comments. And of course, then, relatively speaking, I was already a celebrity of sorts. I came in from I was from Pretty Poison, and that was a big deal. No deal right now, but at the time it was like he was the guy that played out in the Starwood and all that, so I had some kind of credibility. So I could make a suggestion like that. So after a while, I kind of said, I would say, he would be singing a part. I said, look, this is how it should be done. So I get on the mic and I'll just blow out, one of their songs and do like adjustments and stuff. Yeah. And from that, the relationship kind of developed, Then we were thinking, we want to do a party, you want to play, Parties were a big thing back then.
Of course. Keg parties.
Yeah, keg parties, yeah.
That's where you played all your gigs.
And that's where you make your money,
Yeah.
If John's parents are out for the weekend and we're gonna rent the yard, we're gonna charge $3 to get in and make a mattress full of money. So they did that. They were gonna do that, and I kind of pushed along, and then next thing you know, we kind of had like, we could make at the time $400 or $500 a night, which was a lot of money back then.
Fuck yeah, it is. In the 70s,
for a bunch of kids, we're not gonna, you'd have to flip burgers for a month for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, back then I think minimum wage was like $2.85.
Right. It was an absurd amount of money to make. So you could pay for your studio and rehearsals and and your beer and a few other things.
Yeah. So. Yeah, were you guys getting into some blow and stuff back then? I was a heavy blow guy.
We didn't do blow in the early Sharks, but we did blow in Pretty Poison.
Oh, really?
A lot. It was a lot of...
And how old are you at the time? Like 18?
18.
And you start doing blow, and that's got to be wild, right? In the 70s, you're like,
it was wild. It was a wild thing. I was pretty inexperienced and pretty innocent at the time. 18-year-old. I just played in a little band in a guitar store. Now I'm in Hollywood playing with these big guys.
Doing blow.
And there's a big big bag of, I remember one time sitting in the studio and there was one of those, do you remember those, like a Pan Am bags?
Oh yeah, the Pan Am bag. Yeah, the flight bags.
Yeah, like a flight bag.
I got one over there with the Rolling Stones. Yeah.
So it was sitting next to me, and I don't know what I was waiting for. I was sitting. We had a little lounge at our studio. It was weird, a band with a lounge, rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at that bag. What is that bag? Opened up, and it was just like, it was like a kilo of cocaine, And
wow.
As raunchy as the whole thing is, and I mean, drugs are fun. They wouldn't be if they. I mean, I'd be lying to tell you that. It's fun.
Yep.
But what I think kills a lot of people is the I think inability to, especially with something like blow. The normal person can never get enough of it because it's so expensive and it costs much. But like anything else, I actually kind of got sick of it.
Wow.
Because it was so
free.
It was free and you can do as much as you wanted. And and it was just like I kind of really got burnt out on it.
Yeah.
It was never something I never had to go, okay, I got to go to rehab and never do
You're not going to hit rock bottom because it's free.
It was not. Never. But you hit rock bottom in a different way. Kind of like you kind of go, it's just not worth it. It's just, what I get out of it, especially after you've been doing it for a while, as everybody knows, your high time becomes shorter and shorter.
Totally.
So anyway, I kind of just moved away from it. It was just okay, just to move away, and I'm not really interested in doing it. I don't have I don't profess something like I'm never going to do this. I mean, I don't really, deny myself really anything, you know, but what I do know is that there is, there's moderations in everything in life.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is. And I haven't, done it in, long time.
I couldn't even imagine doing it now.
I couldn't imagine it.
As an adult,
But
I would be so paranoid, like, dude, my heart is totally racing right now.
Right. No, I hear you, but at the same time, and we're really scraping the barrel here with this subject matter. But what if you were in a situation? What if we were like on a vacation with some friends, and we're like in a beach house? We've been there for a couple of days, and we got music playing, and someone came up with, "Would you do it?" I don't know. Is there a circumstance? What I'm asking really is,
I'm like that with like mushrooms and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not the drug, or doing drugs. It's more of the paranoia of 50, my heart will pop.
You're going to blow up.
I got no problem with someone, we're on vacation, we're out in the mountains, the guy goes, hey, psychedelics? Oh, fuck it. And I haven't taken those in like 5 years, but I would in a minute, you know.
Right.
I don't seek them out, but if we were, like you said, we're in the mountains or the beach.
Some kind of circumstance.
Total Santos.
We have to make out, we have to make up something, really outlandish, but whatever. It's all right. It doesn't control my life, and that's okay. I got, other things that are actually give me more satisfaction than that. I mean, I really like, recording and singing and seeing the outcome and building something up and looking back, wow, this is really terrific.
Yeah,
this is something.
I'm the same way, as corny as that sounds. It turns into like your high is the art.
It is, and it's everything else pales to that. So that's a nice thing.
So you start playing with those guys, and here's something I never knew: you did a record before School Bus, which I didn't know because I was that was way before I saw the band.
That's right.
But you did a record, and here's a really crazy thing. I didn't know, being a comedian now, I perform at the Ice House all the time. You guys used to play the Ice House in Pasadena. They actually did concerts in there other than comedy because it's, wow, that's wild.
We did. We played that. That was our hometown. We played there, wow, many times.
That place is still open.
Sure it is.
And booming.
Sure it is.
It's the oldest comedy club in America.
It is.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
True story. But back then, like, the Smothers Brothers,
Right.
Robin Williams.
Sure.
It was kind of a venue where they'd have comedy, then some music, and then maybe poetry or whatever. What was it like when you were there? Was it like a rock club?
It wasn't a rock club. No, it was a place that did all those things that you mentioned. Right. And all of a sudden we're going to have a concert this weekend, and then they expanded and they had 2 rooms. They had that main room where the majority of the comedies go, and then they had another room. They started, kind of expanding and stuff, and it was just, it was kind of natural. I didn't really question. I didn't know that much about it back then. I mean, I know exactly where it is, and I've been, and like I said, I played there dozens. You
did a live single there.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
We did a thing called Shark Meat, and we did a cover of Bang a Gong by T-Rex before Palmer did it. It was one of those covers that was like, beefed up version of it. I mean, you look at the bones of that song, it's got that, really strong backbeat,
killer,
kind of Billy Idol, like Steve Stevens kind of like back rhythm. It's awesome. It's a cool song. So we did a little 45. Those were really popular at the time, and certainly they were within our budget to do that. So we did those. We did that, and then one year we did a spoof record.
I couldn't believe this.
Did you ever see that?
I heard of it years ago. Santa Claus coming to town. We're heading out on the highway. Yeah. What the fuck, man? That is genius.
It was genius. We were sitting there, we were listening to it, and we were in the studio, just screwing around, and we go, this vocal line, these lyrics fit totally with this, and then we just started goofing with it. You better watch out. You better not cry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you why, Santa Claus is coming tonight. It was like
holy shit, that's amazing.
It was hilarious, and we were just laughing and just, tears coming from your eyes. We're just laughing about that. We used to, spin it up all the time and just crack up and laugh. And we said, let's do this for Christmas. We're gonna do a Christmas release, and we did it. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Called Heavy Metal Christmas. No, have a metal Christmas and a heavy New Year.
Yeah.
So we did a play on that, and we released that on a 45, and that was just for fun. We just did for fun. Throw a 45 together for nothing. And then we did this a shaped record called the Fin record.
Oh yeah.
We took a 12-inch record, and then had it die cut with 3 like fins on it, and then we put it. So it was essentially a 45 again with these protrusions, these fin protrusions off the side.
That's sick.
It had a special slot that you put it in. So any way you'd put it in, it would always be a fin sticking out. Right. So we did that, and then we did our first big record. It was called Sharks. It was called Alter Ego.
Yeah.
And that was we were really going in and we're doing a full recording.
Where do you do this record at?
We had to do it. We did most of it at a place called That Studio, which is a ridiculous name. It's like couldn't think of anything better, but we did it there, and then we had to do some pickups in another studio because again, money was an issue, and you got to try to get. Friends and some family members to kick in some money and say, we'll pay you back when you do that. And we had some posters made, and then we used the posters as part of the record. So they were dual purpose. So you're going to print out the poster anyway, and it was oversized. And then we had this one section within the poster that was actually wrapped for the album.
Oh, wow.
So so we only had to pay for one printing, So it was all like, this was all we're just learning as we go,
Just doing it, just being a band, right?
Just doing it, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So we did that, and then after that, we did a personnel change, and I could see that the band was really taking a different direction. We're gonna certainly get heavier. I didn't know how heavy it was going to get, and there was certain members that weren't really cutting it. We had some problems with the drummer was drinking too much, and it was just starting to drag things down, and just so we made a personnel change, and I
then you get Walt on drums.
Yeah, I switched the band. I changed the name to Shark Island, and
yeah. Well, now why do you do that?
Well, it wasn't really the Sharks really anymore,
Right.
You know, and even at the time, I had to recognize that we had a certain following already,
Right.
So I didn't want to completely alienate and start everything completely new. So I was kind of like looking at like the Sharks was originally kind of a spoof name anyway, because we just said, what are we going to call ourselves, like the Sharks and the Jets from West Side Story. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it'll be like a gang, we'll just call it the Sharks. And we thought at the time it was kind of clever, right? And then I thought, well, I want to make this more of a I want to make this more like a society. I want the band and the people that come to watch us to be kind of part of something. And I always noticed, like, when I would go any place to like a vacation place, there's always the locals that had their own little language and their own little things and stuff. Even no matter where even if you go to Catalina,
It's so true.
Everybody has their own thing. So I thought, I want to make a little. Let's call it Shark Island. We'll make this a fictitious place, and we'll just like develop it on that premise. And that's kind of how we did it. And I remember writing. I had a book of matches, and I had a little Sharpie, and I wrote Shark Island on it. And I said, look, that's the album right there. And that's the actual logo from School Bus.
Wow.
That was the actual. I said, this is our album right here.
Yeah.
and we just used it. But those type of things they're kind of exercises in taking action in your life. Taking action is like the most important thing. If you're indecisive, if you wait too long,
think about it too much.
It's over. You want to think about it. You want to be kind of realistic, kind of about it, but you don't want to overthink it. You got to move. That's the most important thing. I used to always say, when I ended up, moving the bands all the time, the direction, moving everything. And sometimes people would go, well, I don't know, dude, that's too much trouble doing that, or, getting that. And I'm going, look, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay? If you don't like it. If you got something better and you can get all these people to go along with your idea, you're welcome.
Totally.
And they go, well, I just wanted to think. Well, you wanted to think about it. It's like, not think about it. We got it up. We just did the album cover right here. We're done.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. We're moving with this, and we're going. And that's how always happened. I wanted one day I wanted confetti to drop off out of the sky at the Whisky.
Yeah.
Oh, how are we going to do that? It's too much trouble. I designed these little troughs with this, with strings to flip them out. It was a big pain in the ass to do.
Right.
But it was those things that made you different, because everybody would say it's too much trouble. Of course it's too much trouble.
Of course.
It's a lot.
If it was easy, everyone would have confetti.
That's exactly right. So, but let me tell you, when we did it, and when the confetti comes out of the sky,
yeah,
everybody goes, "Oh crap!" And then 30 years later, I remember when you guys had the confetti. It says, "Well, then was it a lot? Is that a lot of trouble now? In retrospect, when you look back, is it a lot of trouble?" Yeah, no. It was well worth it.
I'm still talking about this fucking gig.
Exactly.
And it's 2016.
Exactly.
And look, I've had 270 episodes, and I've had tons of rock stars on and stuff. But there's guys that have moved me in my life to where it raised the barometer to me. One of them being Dave Menichetti from Y&T. Another one being Omar and Cedric from At the Drive-In. As far as like these guys, they're later on. But I'm saying there's dudes in my life that I look at and go, well, this particular night of my life, which was 45 minutes, an hour, really molded me as far as work ethic and shit.
Right.
Of like, when I saw you, I was like, well, I'm not even close to a front man, and like I said, I saw David Lee Roth and all them, but those guys, they were humongous rock stars, and they were different. This was a guy in a club that I was like, whoa, man, I'm not even close, and that kind of stuff, it stuck with me, and it made me like want to find you for the show. I've got to find this guy.
Well, that's a great testament there. what I have to say for it, first of all, is thank you for recognizing it, but at the same time, it kind of goes back to that whole theme. If I didn't bring it that night, we wouldn't be sitting here, right?
Yeah, you're so right.
Right. So, life is fired at you point blank. You don't have time to think. You gotta act. You gotta move. You gotta move as much as possible. But you know what? You're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but you can't let that immobilize you, paralyze you.
Yeah.
And you have to, I think, surround yourself with people who are at least going to go along with you. Go along with it, even if against their better judgment. If they just go, I don't have a better idea. We're going to go with it, and I always manage to do that. I remember my it was just lately, and I don't know if I knew it in before, but my guitar player Michael Guy right now that I work with, he said something that was really interesting to me, and it really rang true. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
So do an inventory of yourself and go, who am I hanging out with? Who are the people around me that are either making or breaking me? Who's dragging me down? Who's
Yeah, I once heard a saying, "Show me who you hang out with, and I'll show you who you are."
Same thing. It's the same thing. But it's very true, And I would love to just be able to sing that to everybody who's trying to do anything. It doesn't even matter what, but all too often there's a travesty in life that people always think that they're somehow different. Oh, well, that might have been the case with him, but he doesn't know me. He doesn't know my circumstances. He doesn't that. So they have to spend their whole time making the same mistakes over and over and over that maybe I've made 1,000 times. I'll tell people once in a while, I go, listen, you waste your time with this. I hang out with some people that are, painters and sculptors and things like that, and some actors and stuff, and I see them, and authors, and I see them doing things, and I'm going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they go, well, I got to do this, and they have this excuses, and all you got is excuses.
Yep.
Come pull the trigger already. Come on. Fail. You need to fail. I mean, you almost need to fail.
You got to fail. That's how the biggest comics are. They fail over and over and over on stage, and they don't tap out. They keep failing until they figure out why they're failing, and then it changes all of a sudden. Right. If you're afraid to fail, you'll never make it as a musician or any actor artist. Or any arts. Any art.
Yeah, and that what is Friedrich Nietzsche. His saying really one I really love is, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger."
Yeah,
and that is true. All those failures make you stronger, and they're disheartening, and you got to kind of try to shake it off and move forward. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the fails are devastating. And sometimes, but usually when you get to the other side, you're like you're better because of it.
Let's get a little bit into the school bus record.
All right.
First of all, it was hard for me to find. I was like, I need this record by this band, Shark Island. The guy's like, it's not on here. Back then, they had like a paper list.
Right.
The guy would open up the paper list, and he'd go, I'm telling you, it's not on here. And I go, no, I just saw him. It just came out, and it's got the song, Read My Lips. I got to find it. And he's like, yeah, it's not here. Sorry. Then about a week later, I went in there, and he's all, hey, I found that. I talked to my distributor, and I ordered it for you. And as you can see, I got records here. I lost my first batch of albums growing up, so I don't own it. And I bought it. So I bought it. I spun the fuck out of it over and over and over. And here's something I never knew about it, because I guess, or maybe I did know younger and just drug haze, but Rick Derringer produced this.
Yeah, produced. Yeah, several. Not all the songs, but several of the songs, like half of the album.
That's insane. Now, how does this happen? And it's a 2-part question, but how does this happen, and how do you not get a record deal off of your own record here?
I can't answer the second part of it because I have no freaking idea why things didn't go. I don't understand why you could play a show and
sold out every night,
sold out, and you can't do like, what is it? I mean, do I have to blow somebody to do this? I mean, is the rumor true?
Yeah.
What's the problem here? What am I missing? I don't know the answer to that.
It's incredible because it seemed like back then, if you just had long hair and sold out a show, you got a record deal.
It seemed like it.
Yeah.
It seemed like it. I mean, we'd pack the places and we'd do our work. We'd get groups of people together in the back of El Caminos and, go up and down the Laurel Canyon, put posters up and go do street work and go, we did all kinds of like very creative things to make sure that we got the name out in the show and all that stuff. And
painted on the side of the wall of Gazzari's.
So I don't really get it. I don't really get what it was. I don't know what it was. I still to this day don't know what it was. I don't know why, somebody like, I mean, Motley Crue opened up for us in Pasadena one time.
Right.
I mean, opened the show. Even like that whole Guns N' Roses thing that came back that I could never really understand, what that was about. And that's something I don't even want to talk about because that's such an old, tired subject. But back to the Rick Derringer thing, we too thought, okay, this is going to be a shoe-in. Rick Derringer's like producing our,
How do you get him? Does he see you?
Well, he saw us, and then he started talking with Spencer and this and that, and he was kind of hanging on. He was kind of he was an interesting guy. I talked to him in the early days, and I remember talking to him. I'm going, hey Rick, what is do you have any advice for an upcoming band like doing them? You're real popular and you're doing all this, and we're just struggling here trying to get our thing together. Do you have any advice? He goes, yeah, get out. He goes, get out while you can. And I'm like going, that's not what I wanted to hear exactly, but he was so cynical in that.
Oh, they all say that.
But
right?
Now I think back,
yeah.
And I get it. I know exactly what he said, and I have given that advice, to some people too.
Yeah.
Who I can just go. I would just look at and go, you know what? You're not going to live long enough to get it together. It's just not. It just, you're already past the curve of being able to get it together in time based on where you are. Now, if you were like this when you were 16 or 17 and you were like this, I'd go, okay, well, let's go. But if you're pushing 30 and you're not even there yet, I mean,
yeah.
in the room,
yeah.
in the room yet, you should just get out while you can, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because it's a long, ugly, arduous road.
So Rick Derringer decides to do the record.
So he does the thing, and he starts to produce, whatever that meant at the time for me. But I was just tickled to have him involved in it, and I thought this is going to be my meal ticket.
Yeah.
When I can say I got Rick Derringer doing this and stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, it really didn't make any difference. It doesn't really make any difference, and it doesn't. And it happened to me even later in my life. There was another person that was kind of noteworthy, popular, and I thought my first inclination was, I want to get up with him, and I want to try to essentially like maybe ride his coattails, or at least maybe combine his notoriety with mine. It's gonna, it all comes down to you.
Yeah.
It comes down to what you're doing. It didn't matter that Rick Derringer did that. It didn't matter. The album did what it did, and it was me. It was my responsibility. It's what I did, and it wasn't him. And for me to think that I'm going to get some kind of a shortcut because he's involved, that's silly. That's a pie in the sky. You got to be your best. You got to be your own worst critic, and you got to look at what you're doing and make sure it is just truly the best that you can do. The best that there is. I look at things and I record it, and when I'm doing it, I pursue it as if this is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
That's not conceited.
Nope.
But you know what? If I'm gonna be pretending like I'm competing with these people, I clearly have to be at least as good, but better would be would be preferred.
You got to have an ego.
So I have to. You gotta have to have an ego.
Have an ego.
You got to look at it and go, wow, I am really bringing it. This is it. This is like what it is. And then you have if it doesn't work out, then it's disappointing, and that's one of those fails that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But that's just it. That's just the nature of the industry, of the job, the career of art.
The songs on that record are fucking incredible.
They're great. It was there isn't great. I wish they were recorded a little bit better.
Yeah.
When I look at it now and how much time we spend, I mean that when we were doing that, studio time was $200 an hour.
Yeah.
For studio.
Yeah.
Now we could record with your gear right here a better album that we did there. You know
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, right here we could probably put that whole album together and make it sound better than that. Right here, right now, you and I.
Yeah.
Right. And
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's record it.
It's amazing too. I think that when the studio costs that much money, I personally feel that it makes you work better. Maybe it doesn't sound how you want it to sound. I always found that too. Like my heroes would go record 8 and 16 track records like Zeppelin and Aerosmith and AC/DC, and they sounded like, I put them on right now and go, listen to this fucking record. But I always found when I would go record my own stuff in a 24 track with Neve and 2-inch tape and fucking guys, it never sounded the same. And I wonder if it was because it was my stuff or it just didn't have that next level shit.
Here's the reason for that. It's partially the material, but it's also partially if I sat you down in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
Said you can go take it around the block. I don't know if you can get that sucker around the block. Yeah. I mean, the right driver of that car will just tear it up.
Yeah.
But somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, I mean, it doesn't matter if you got your Neve board, all this equipment, all the grid. You got to know how to run it.
Yeah.
And it gets.
You need a Mutt Lange.
You need Mutt Lange, and he went crazy, but yeah, you do. You need somebody to know. I mean, I'm learning stuff still that I didn't know. I mean, we're recording right now up in Oregon. We're trying to. Michael and I were recording. He's got a nice studio up there, and the things I'm learning about just placements of instruments from an EQ standpoint. Where to have cutouts and leave spaces for certain instruments, leave spaces for vocals, leave spaces for different things. You can't just throw a bunch of stuff on the tape because there's only so much you can record. There's only so much space, so you have to organize that space, and it's a science. It's just a science to try to organize that.
Yeah.
I mean, people take. Even Mutt Lange, like you mentioned, he takes a year. 2 years to record something. He's just, trying to, get it together and stuff. But some people have a knack for it to throw it together, faster. But it may not have all the layers of a Mutt Lange piece. But it is a definite talent in itself.
Yeah.
And then I can't do it. I can I could find my way around and do demos. I could do demos.
Yeah.
I would. I tried to do. This record we're working on right now. I tried to do it with a friend of mine, and we started to record it. And at first it was like, wow, this is sounding really good. This is really great. And then the further along we got, though, I started to realize I'm going, I think we're over our heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was kind of disappointing. Again, one of those fails because we had put so much time into it, and we were unqualified to drive that Formula One. We didn't know how to drive it.
Right.
And we had to essentially start from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really a sad kind of time because we had spent so much time and money to try to do it, but then to realize that, wow, we have to start over now.
Yep.
And it was hard, but a lesson learned. You know, I'll stick to demos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
After the school bus record, you get an A&M demo deal, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And basically, people don't know, but back in the day, you would get a demo deal, and it would be like they give you a certain amount of money, $5,000 or so. You go in and do some demos, and they figure out if they want to sign you or not.
Right.
So you sign a demo deal with A&M, and you go in and do some demos, and what happens there?
Well, the first thing they wanted to do, and okay, now just to put it in perspective, okay, we've been at this point in our lives, a lot of work has gone, and for us, we were in our late 20s at this point, 30 almost,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to feel the pressure of life, the family and girlfriends, when are you gonna quit this nonsense? And
what are we talking, 84 or something?
Probably 80, 83, 84.
83, yeah.
Probably. And anyway, there's a layer, an element of desperation there, and you're starting to wonder. You're going, good grief, what's happening? There's still this whole time people are like, passing us up.
Motley Crue is huge now. Quiet Riot's huge.
So I get this. They called it a development deal with A&M, and A&M at the time was a really great company. They were really into their artists. They were, that was kind of their raison d'être. They were into their artists to develop them, So they immediately wanted they wanted me to go solo.
Right.
And I wasn't ready for that. To be frank, I wasn't. Again, I needed to have my band to transpose my music, to put it together and stuff. To me to go to solo, I can't make a record, with a bunch of strangers and start again. So they kind of got rid of. They said, well, we really don't like this member and we don't like this member. We're gonna want to replace them. And the band took kind of a big reorganization. And I managed to hang on to Spencer at the time, because we were like the main songwriters, and
of course.
And I was like, I need to have at least him around until such time that we find a adequate replacement, if that's indeed what you want to do with this solo thing.
Did the band guys know this during the demo deal?
No. Well, yeah, they kind of knew. They kind of knew it. Obviously they weren't. We stopped kind of playing for a while. And
Walt's gone.
Yeah, Walt's gone, and the bass player's gone, and Mike was gone, Mike was who I'm playing with now again. And
Mike, when I saw your 4-piece, you had 2 guitar for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's on the back of School Bus. You can see Mike. He's been around for a long time, and Mike and I have done several side projects throughout this whole thing.
Wow.
We did a, Mike will come up with these songs, and we'll go into a studio separately and record it ourselves. We even had another group that we never played. It was the Bourgeois Pigs.
Yeah, I read that with Jake Lee.
Right. Well, he was in it. Yeah, he was in it. But but we were still the principal songwriters, Mike and I.
Right.
And it was just that was fine and all, but it was just too much at the time. It wasn't really necessary for what we were doing and what we were able to do on our own. So I'm not impressed by celebrity, because I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me if you are a big popular guy. You know what I'm saying? I look at people's talents and what they are, for what they do, what they bring to the table. There's unknown people out there that are so much better than what is portrayed later. I mean,
Yeah.
like even if you look.
Oh, you see them on YouTube now.
Yeah.
You can't even believe these people out there.
Oh, well, you look at Eddie Van Halen, for instance. And I don't want to sound. I'm not disparaging. And all credit, to
Right.
Eddie Van Halen. Okay, I'm not going to bug him about it. But there was a guy in Pasadena named Terry Kilgore, who's wow.
Right.
Okay, and what he does is very familiar to some person we know. Anyway, that kind of stuff happens. So, but this is the unsung hero.
Right.
So Terry Gilliger is like,
So
you
what
never
you're
heard
saying,
of him.
there's always a dude that the guy got it from.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And there's always a Judas.
That's an undertone to, of course, you don't want to talk about the GNR thing.
Well,
and I get it. I respect it. But I also know that people always want to hear it. This show is pretty fucking massive.
Well, you want to hear it. I've said it before. I can give you just a quick version of it because the reason I don't want to do it, there's a couple reasons. The couple reason is because it's been done several times. Of
course.
Second reason is it ends up sounding like sour grapes.
Right.
Okay. But the point of the matter is, with what I have done to develop my craft over so many years and so many shows, so many hours, so many sacrifices, for somebody to step in, videotape, take the shortcut, and then implement what you've done is just inexcusable. It's just nasty cheating. Is what it is. And what can I say? I mean, you look at the very first video, Welcome to the Jungle, and you would swear you're looking at me at Gazzari's. I mean, it looks like even to me, I just kind of go, what the hell? Anyway, but that's all we're going to say about it. And that's basically what it is.
I respect your thing.
I don't care for that person at all, and even to add insult to injury, is just like after managing to essentially take my shtick, not to throw me a bone afterwards. I mean, I'm still struggling here, and he's like, he could have said at any time, he could have mentioned my name and really, did something, but never even anything, even no acknowledgement or everything, and he wasn't the only person. There was, the late Scott Weiland from STP. There's a lot of stuff there was kind of lifted from what I'm doing. There was nobody doing what I was doing. It came and it was developed out of necessity. It just happened. It wasn't calculated.
I believe it. I saw it. I was like, nobody was this guy.
It was purely out of just what I was doing. It was a result of my work. That's what it was. And
I even looked at some video of you from 2013. You're playing somewhere. It was like, I think it was Halloween or something. It's on YouTube.
Oh yeah. I went to stay in Croatia for a while. I was playing expat out there, and there's a friend of mine that had lived here for like 15 years who moved back there. And he comes to me. He goes, hey, there's a Halloween show. Let's put a band together and we'll do a Shark Island cover band.
Yeah,
it's a Halloween weekend, which was in this city, Zagreb, which was like, it was the Halloween weekend. It's like Halloween weekend. It's not a night. It's
right.
Like 4 nights of just craziness. The whole city goes crazy. And I said, well, I don't know if I want to. He goes, it'll be great, he can dress up in the light. So I decided to dress up like Andy Warhol, right? White wig and black rimmed glasses and his suit and all this stuff. And he talked me into it. He was actually responsible for even getting me to even consider music again.
Wow.
Because I was like I was just happy sitting on the beach and, drinking brandy.
Oh.
And
which beach?
Down in Croatia, in Sen, this little city down there.
Right.
It's a little beach town. It's a little fishing village. It's a little tiny place. It's like, and I was like there, and I got a little place there, and I was like, well, you know what? I think I'll just die here.
Wow.
I was just fine with it. I just didn't care about it anymore. I was like, I can do this for a while. So anyway, he talks me into this, and he says, I'll do all the work. Don't worry about it. I'll get the band together. We'll rehearse it. We rehearsed like a day or two before, and we did the show. And then the following year, we did it again.
Yeah.
And
dude, but when I watched it, I was like, look at the moves. Immediately you came out, you spun the mic stand, and you were like, get a band. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, you don't lose it after a while. It's kind of like riding a bike. You don't lose some of it. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm.
To me, it just said natural. It was built in.
There's a lot of natural. I just don't know if I'm as I'm sure if I played a little tour,
Yeah.
it would all come back. But there was things coming back, and I was going, oh yeah, I can do this. Oh, I remember this move. I can do this. It's just like a bug. It's like riding a skateboard, and doing an ollie.
Good,
you go, oh yeah, I can do an ollie. So,
It's incredible though.
it's fun. It's interesting. It's like something that happened. It happened over many years, and it's just embedded in me. I mean, I'm amazed, really, that I can remember the words. I mean, when I think back of songs, and not just my songs, but even other people's music, I must know the lyrics of 500 songs.
Wow.
For some reason.
No shit.
For some reason, I remember like jingles from Toyota commercials.
Photographic memory a little bit?
I don't know what it is exactly, but I have a very, very, it's really weird when you think about what is occupying your mind. Why do I know all these lyrics? I mean, I've done them so many times that I never sat down and said, okay, I'm going to memorize this. But you just,
right.
Repetition, all of a sudden, but.
Let's get back to the A&M
Yes,
thing.
sir.
You go in, you're going to do some development
Right.
demo deal.
So they pretty much scuttle the band for all intents and purposes, and they start sending me around. I go to England, I go to back east, I go to Midwest, I go to Europe. I'm going all over the place, and I'm doing co-writes with these various professional songwriters.
Right.
So they want to put together a demo with these new songs, with these
hits.
these notable big hits. That's what their intent was. So that went on for a while, and I started to thinking, I'm going, well, they've been spending a lot of money. We're for sure going to get a
Right.
deal. This is going to happen. And
How were the songs?
Well, the biggest song from that whole thing, we had two songs from that whole genre. Paris Calling came out of that.
Amazing song.
And Bad for Each Other came out of that.
Great song.
Right.
Both the videos from the Epic record.
Right. So those came out of that A&M experience. And so
It's interesting that they didn't think that the school bus songs were big. There's some hits on there, and I'm not saying that because I'm just fucking a fan of the band or whatever, but I recognize hits, and I often think that, like I say many, many, many times, Bullet Boys' big fail was they didn't release F Sharp 9 as the third single, which would have been the monster tune. And back then, everybody needed the big ballad, Home Sweet Home. All the ballads that Bon Jovi, I Was There For You. Read My Lips is fucking crushing ballad.
You're not the only one who thinks that. I mean, Michael Guy is always hounding me about that. He's like, oh, it's just this and that, and they just didn't know what they were doing and this and that. And I'm going, well, yeah, you may be right. Yeah. But, I mean, there's a couple things noteworthy in this. You have this big company, and you have this group of people, these A&R people that really is at the time especially was a fairly small community. Everybody knew everybody, right? So you were only as good as your last band that you signed, your last band that you pushed. Paris Calling almost didn't make it on the record. I had to fight tooth and nail to get that on there.
Wow.
Tooth and nail. I mean, it was classic. In a conference room, you can imagine it. You've probably seen this on L&M on television. A big conference room with a bunch of executives and me with the long hair, and I'm trying to talk to these people about and go, well, we don't know this Paris Calling thing, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what Paris Calling? Are you shitting me? Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And they go, well, I had to fight to get that on there, and that ended up being the same hit. Same thing happened with when we did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
Hey, we got this movie. It's about these two guys. They do this time traveling. We got Keanu Reeves in there and George Carlin in the movie and this and that. And we need a song for that. We went to see my song. Oh, well, I got a song.
Yeah.
Father Time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I go, what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
Father Time, you get it? Time travel? I mean, to try to get this. It was just, it was.
Are you fucking alive
insane.
behind those eyes?
It was insane. Are you high? It was the question. Are you high? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And that's that kind of thing you had to do. I'm just kind of going through that kind of stuff, you know. You mentioned the Chain earlier. Okay, the Chain live. I don't know if you ever even heard it, but it was later on we were doing that song. That song was that kicked ass so good live. It was unbelievable punchy song. And that also, they were like, oh, I don't know about that. And I finally pushed it. And what happened was, now this is that balancing act.
Yeah.
I had to talk the producer into doing it. And what did he do? He didn't put his best forth because it wasn't his idea and he didn't believe in it. He didn't see the vision.
That's the worst. He's just punching in behind the desk.
So you always you're always doing this with this music. You're always trying to appease everybody, yet put forth your agenda. So it's a balancing. You don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. You have to kind of make them think that they thought of it. And it's just like this.
It's such a game, right?
It's such a game.
It's such a game.
So, I mean, we had to do a lot of that stuff with, and here we have, School Bus. We had all these songs. I mean, we'd do some of these songs like Read My Lips. I mean, we hypnotize the entire audience.
Marks the spot.
We would finish songs sometime.
Yeah.
And there would be absolute silence in the room. No applause, no booing, just
stunned.
Dead silence. Till you're just going to go.
Murdered him.
Murdered him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt with Read My Lips. I never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
You like the guitar kicks in, it's this fucking landscape that's perfect.
Right.
The fan came on, your hair was blowing, you could see the outfit you're wearing. You're doing this crazy moves in the face thing. You kick in, take a walk, baby. I'm like, whoa. All of a sudden I felt like this is like I'm seeing the end by the Doors, but in 1985.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, it's not the crazy evilness of that, but the hypnotic potion going on in the room. The room was like that. I was just like, wow,
Yeah, it was really extraordinary. I was aware of it. I was, I was putting that forth, and that was my intent, and it would go, and I'd know. People would I remember sometimes the band would be like concerned, like what they didn't. Someone's applying. I go, yeah, but no one's booing.
Yeah.
I go, they're just hypnotized. They don't know what the hell just
They're
happened.
fucking talking.
Yeah, they're talking about it, and people, like you're not alone. I hear it all the time.
Oh, I see the tweets. I put
believe
the
me,
tweet out.
I had as much fun doing it as you heard listening to it. Believe me, just as much. It was. I was just getting off on it. It was great. I loved doing it. It was so fulfilling to do something like that and to have that effect and have a communal experience. Everybody felt it, including me. And
Unbelievable.
We went, wow, and it was like, so, that was it. And we did that. Here we are with the A&M thing. We'll digress. And
they pass.
they ended up, I was, first of all, like I said, I thought they're going to sign us for sure all of a sudden. And we do this Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We do 2 songs on there, and then we did Point Break. We get a song on there, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, we are in like Flint. All of a sudden, we decided not to go, and I went, what? Well, what do you mean Yeah, we don't see it. What was happening? There was a lot of, if you remember. Seattle was happening.
It was just creeping.
Yeah, it was just creeping, Soundgarden.
A&M signed Soundgarden.
Yeah, I remember talking to guys like, yeah, I'm going up to Seattle again with Soundgarden is kicking ass. Oh my God. And then, there's Mother Love Bone, and then of course Nirvana after that. So everything was kind of like shifting.
Yep.
Now the thing is about it is I didn't think that the band that our image was so steeped in the hair band thing.
I didn't believe that either.
We could have easily shifted from that to what they wanted. You know what I mean? We could have, but all of a sudden, now because of this big delay away from the scene, the dismantled band, and now I'm essentially at square one.
Yeah.
I was a square one again.
That's heavy.
I said, man, you son of a bitch, I should have just ignored him and continued doing what I was doing and said, you want to do something? Okay, well, you want me to go to New York? Well, I got a gig, so I can't make it. I should have made them work on my schedule instead of just throwing everything away. Because I had a good, solid band. We had good, following, great attendance, good songs. We had a good relationship, and now all of a sudden it was gone. It was just me and Spencer. So,
and that comes out of being desperate, right? Because your back's against the wall. Yeah. You're in your late 20s. Everybody's passed you up, and now you're going, fuck, I'll do what they say.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's got to be happening. Yeah. And then they just pull the rug underneath you. They don't give a fuck. They keep walking, and you don't got dudes in your band. They're like, fuck you, you left me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. And it's out of desperation. That's a bad thing. It's a bad place to be.
It really is.
I should have not paid attention. But I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know what was doing right. I mean, I knew what I was doing. I mean, I wasn't a very good businessman, and I still didn't have a manager, so to speak. But then we got in together with a manager, and then it was another detour, other little, problems occurred. That was like when we were able to get our album out. We went with Epic Records and we did Law of the Order.
How do you get from A&M rock bottom to Law of the Order? Because your guys are gone, and then all of a sudden about a year later you got a deal and the record's coming out. How does this happen?
I got this new band that was kind of put together as a result of
Spencer's
A&M.
back.
So Spencer's still there. He was managed to stay there, and I got Chris Hallman on bass, and I got this Greg Ellis on drummer, really great drummer, and we also met one of the staff engineers there who knew some people at this management company. He said, "Hey, as I only talked to see if they want to, if they're interested in that." So we got with this management company, and we had this a body of work. Because of these songs that we made, we had
all the demos. They gave them to you after it expires.
Yes,
you own them. I got it.
So we had a good body of work, well recorded. They were recorded way better than School Bus.
Right.
So we had that to go. So now we had something to sell, and we managed to get Epic.
So you already had it, and you sold it to Epic.
Exactly.
That's an interesting thing because my main thing was when the record came out, I remember I ran down and bought it. I thought for sure, this is pre-internet and everything, you don't know what the fuck's going to be on the record, but I go, for sure they're going to have like Read My Lips on there, Deja Vu will be on there. I thought you'd go in, you would record a bulk of your School Bus and new tunes and make this super Shark Island record. So that answers my question right there. It was already demos that were done, high caliber demos that turned into the Epic record. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So when you sell it to them and sign the deal, by then it feels too late, right?
By then it was okay. When being with Epic was nice. It was a multi-album deal, and it was nice. But I learned at that point that getting signed, again that word, didn't really mean anything. All it meant is like you get to start now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Now
it's weird too.
This is the beginning. Not that stuff that you did all of those years. No. Now you're at square one. Now you're in a new league and new expectations and new things to do. And that's when it begins. And being signed means nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing at all.
Well, to me, do you think it had a lot of effect where since you already had that record recorded, those demos, that they didn't really have that much invested in it, so they're like, "Fuck it, let's just throw this out."
No, we had to record several of the songs.
I got you.
We had to record several of the songs, but we had them in a form that were listenable. So even the demos of Law of the Order were better than School Bus as far as quality.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
So we had to take it from there and then up it again to create the album.
Did you ever think of recording songs from School Bus for the debut?
Well, actually, we Well, not for the no, we didn't, because I considered what we did with School Bus as a done deal. It was an album, and
Don't walk backwards.
In my turns, it was just like, we're moving on. That was an album. That's going to be our part of our legacy. Let's move on from there. And I wanted to continue moving on as much as possible. Even if we would have re-recorded it, I don't know if it would have been as
right, because you've lost interest in those tunes. I get it. To me, I know how hard it is to write fucking great songs, and I know, like, okay, big money now. Let's re-record some of these, at least 4 of them. Deja Vu, Excess Marks the Spot, Read My Lips, and
well, here's a funny thing. A couple of weeks ago, I was up at the Portland studio with Mike, and Mike just loves Puss in Boots.
Oh,
loves
great one.
And he's just like, he goes, let's record. I go, come on, Mike, I don't really want to record. He goes, so let's just do me a favor. Just come on, let's do me a solid. Let's record. So we recorded it.
Wow.
We re-recorded Puss in Boots, and it's like, it's like you compare it to School Bus, and it just sounds like a toy piano. I mean, it makes School Bus sound like a toy piano.
Yeah.
And this is like, oh my God. And so we threw it together. I don't know what we're going to do with it.
God, that's cool.
I don't know what we're going to do with it, but
you're making me salivate now. Like, oh, I got to hear that.
Well, I was kind of, I was on the fence about it. I mean, mainly because, Puss in Boots, it's kind of a double entendre. It's Puss in Boots. It's about a cat and petting the cat, and of course, a cat could also be a female part,
I get it.
And so there's it's kind of a double thing. It doesn't ever say anything overt,
right?
But every line
it's a Bon Scott style lyric. She's got the jack.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What?
It's exactly a Bon Scott thing, right? And I didn't know if I was really in a place in my life to play that again. You say, I'm not. I don't know, but you know what? After doing it, it was fun, and it does sound good, and who knows what we'll do with it. And worst case scenario, we got the updated demo for this cruise and the next shows that we're going to be doing.
Right.
So now we know how it's actually going to be played from now on.
Of course, you make the record, you put it out, you do the video, and then you do the second video. And you're out touring. Who are you opening for? I saw you, of course, I think at the Stone, or maybe
LA Guns.
Oh, LA Guns, yeah.
LA Guns.
And you got any video of these concerts? Anything? Like, there's got to be tons of footage.
There's very, very few of them from that tour. The best one I know of, I saw it pop up
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, the big one
Columbus,
from the shop
for Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I was just watching that.
That's a pretty badass video. But we don't have any. Videos weren't prolific back then. We didn't have our iPhones. Right now you play a gig and you got 50 videos to choose from. But back then it was just like, you have to have someone with a camera, someone with a low light camera, someone in a good spot. What about the audio? It's really it's very rare that you actually come up with something. And that tape, I don't know how that even came out. It's actually, for what it is, pretty darn good. And I was going, wow, this is cool. It
is.
And
it
was we played at it was like a big old auditorium club on a campus.
Yeah.
And it was wild. Everybody was just crazy, and everybody was like into it. And
oh my God, dude! I watched it. You come on. I loved always how you came on, because the band would be on playing, and then here you come out, and I'm like,
right.
Old frontman style, I don't come out until a few minutes later.
Just make sure everything's adjusted before.
Yeah, right. And here I come. But I watch that and I just think, man, I would love to see a pro shot, pro sounding.
No, you're not alone. I would love to have that.
The whole fucking package. So you're out with LA Guns. Who else did you tour on that record? Kiss? Did you open for Kiss or someone? Who?
No, we did a tour with LA Guns. It was us and LA Guns at the time, and then later on we did a tour with that Contraband debacle.
Oh yeah.
We can talk.
That was only one show, right?
We can talk about that. Was several shows, but really was a debacle. I mean,
let's talk a little bit about Contraband. Let's end the Shark Island thing real quick. After the record comes out, you get dropped.
Okay, we'll pause that. And we'll go into it because actually it's in line. I mean, after the first tour, my manager at the time comes up with this bright idea. He was managing LA Guns and Rat and us and a couple other people.
That girl, Ben Vixen.
Vixen and Michael Schenker.
Schenker.
You know. And he comes up with this idea. None of the groups were doing like spectacular. We're doing pretty well, but not really spectacular. So he comes up with this idea that he wanted to put together what is essentially an all-star supergroup, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I
bought it right away.
In his mind.
Schenker and you, I'm like, I'm fucking in.
Well, you want to know? Do you want to know? I mean, I've spent lots of time with Schenker driving around in taxi cabs, for many weeks, months.
Yeah.
And with Cher, we did a world promo tour, Cher and me, with not even playing, just going talking to people.
Yeah.
Doing promo. But
none of you guys were in the studio at the same time?
No. I'll even take it a step further. This is a good trivia thing for anybody that likes Contraband. To this day, we're speaking today. What is it? The 8th of August,
2016.
To this day, Contraband has never played together at the same time.
No way.
Ever.
No way.
Ever.
You mean
not even rehearsal? I'm talking never.
Wow.
Ever, never, ever.
You guys, now wait a minute. You never played any live gigs. One gig and it broke up, right?
Here's what happened is they put together this thing. We do this Contraband thing. We do a video or two, and everybody's lip syncing on the video and so forth, and hamming it up, and then. And it was supposed to really be that. That was kind of the promise to me. Said, look, we're going to do this album. We're going to record it. We're going to push it. It's going to be a launching pad, essentially, for each individual back.
Right.
So it'll be like a.
It's kind of a genius idea.
That's how it was played. Yeah. You would have went with it too right now. But now wait till you hear the story, the backstory. Now we have a band that just got finished doing the record. The Law of the Order, and we just got finished doing a tour, and we're thinking, okay, time for the second record, because we need another album now for Epic. And all of a sudden, here's the detour, and my manager sells me a story. He goes, and this is for everybody to learn about how things work. He goes, this thing with Epic is just not working out. And I go, oh, what do you mean it's not working out? And he goes, well, we're unable to move in the direction we want to move and what we really want to do. We just got an okay from EMI and a big budget, and we wanted to get out of the deal with Epic, and we wanted to sign you to EMI, which is partially run by this management company. So we'll have the management company and the record company under one roof.
Bad idea.
We won't have to add. We won't have to. We won't have to. Yeah. Well,
as soon as I hear that,
so
I'm
you caught it.
So as soon as I hear that, I go, wait a minute.
Yeah, you caught it.
Yeah,
you caught it. I didn't catch it.
It's never going to be in your fucking court.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. It was clearly.
I wouldn't have caught it back then either, because back then you would be thinking, well, my manager's going to be pushing the fuck out of me,
right?
Because it's his label.
Yeah. That's what I thought, but I didn't see the conflict. I mean, now it's clear as a bell. It's obvious. It's like ridiculous, but the way it was sold to me, I said, yeah, that makes sense. He goes, and furthermore, I got this idea with this Contraband thing. We're gonna play in Bob, but and all these people and this and that. We'll make an album. We just have to make an album. You guys don't even have to play. We'll do a promo deal, a promo tour. We're just gonna sell the records and sell them. And I go, oh, okay. So he stops the album. He closes the album deal with Epic.
How do you get out of that?
Well, part of the problem was that the person that signed us, as soon as he signed us, left the company.
Right.
So it was
the A&R person's gone, and the other people don't care.
The A&R person, I didn't even catch that too. I figured the company is the company, but it all hinged on the A&R guy, and the A&R guy now is gone doing a different genre of music in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm like unrepresented at Epic.
They're like, what is this? That's them, man. They're
signed
gone.
this? Who
Who
signed
cares
this?
about that? So easy to get out
So
of.
I guess that was the part of the problem and part of the selling point of this new little arrangement. So I have to tell the band now, this new band, all right, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. You guys keep working on the new album. I'm going to take off, do a promo tour, for this thing. And that's all it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I did a tour, went around the world with Cher and I doing, press, junkets all day long. And we come back and they go, well, that went pretty well, but we're really thinking that we want to have you guys play a couple choice gigs. And I'm like, oh God, when is this? And I'm still waiting for my next album to come up. And meanwhile, my band's kind of looking and they're kind of blaming it on me, kind of in a weird way. It's like, wait, what do you mean you're going to do with Contraband? I go, well, we kind of have to.
Yeah.
That's our manager, and he wants me to do it, and he's making problems. But they're kind of getting like,
well, it's going to confuse the audience. Like, he plays in Contraband.
Sure,
now.
sure.
Plus, also when you look at it, it has Shanker in it, and it's got Tracy Guns, and that's a names, and he plays with these guys. Who are they? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's almost a weird thing.
So here we are, and the conflict gets worse, and I have to reluctantly say, okay, we'll do a couple gigs. So, what's the tour going to be? Okay, well, Contraband's gonna headline, and L.A. Guns and Rat are going to open the show.
Well, where's Shark Island?
And they're not. They're nowhere. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Contraband's going to headline over Rat?
Yeah.
What are you?
They're fucking huge.
Are you smoking crack or something? What do you mean when you're smoking? I mean, Rat was especially at the time was a kick-ass band.
Oh.
So was L.A. Guns. Really.
Absolutely.
They were both.
They got Ballad of Jane, which is through the roof. Rat's got Invasion of Your Privacy, like huge records, like 5 hits.
Oh, yeah. And if you ever seen them, especially in those days, I mean,
Smoking.
I don't know what but I mean, smoking. I mean, we played with with L.A. Guns every day. L.A. Guns was like, good grief. Because it was badass. It was pretty darn good.
Absolutely.
So I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, how is Contraband going to play with that? Now, keep in mind, there's members of L.A. Guns in Contraband. There's members of Rat in Contraband.
Band.
Never rehearsed.
Yeah.
And we're on tour, headlining over Rat. And who am I? So it's in their best interest for Rat to be good and their best interest for L.A. Guns to be good. There's really no upside of Contraband being good. There was no attention. There was no rehearsal.
Also, you got no hits.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never getting on stage. There was a couple nights, and I'm calling my manager. I'm going, look, we haven't even rehearsed yet. We're playing tomorrow night. Oh, well, don't worry about it. They all say they know the song. I go, listen, I got my, I'm going to be up there. They're going to blame me if it sounds like crap.
That's going all the way back to what you said at the beginning of the interview, where you like to know what's going on, be prepared, and be fucking good,
right?
Because you're the front man.
Yeah, I'll be blamed for it.
Yeah,
I'll be blamed for it. So we get through the first show. I mean, they don't even get to they start the first song in the first show, and I got to tell you, it sounded so bad that I couldn't even tell what song it was.
Wow.
I am not kidding. We're playing for like 7,000 people.
Yeah.
Okay. And I couldn't tell. And then I barely got through that. We only played like 5 songs as headliners right after Rat and L.A. Guns, who just tore it up. And they're still sweating from doing their show. And now they're going to come and do this crap for for half an hour. And the next day, happened again. Listen, I'm telling you right now, this is not going to go on another day. If these guys can't get it together, do some rehearsal, and know what's going on, I'm telling you, there's going to be big trouble. And it went on 2 more days, and I finally, the last day, I said, you know what? This is not working. No one's listening. I'm leaving. I told you. I warned you.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. If anybody out there saw those shows, they can attest to it. It was horrible.
Wow.
So that is kind of a dark spot in my career, that Contraband thing.
Now,
But after
when you left, was Shanker pissed and guys like that?
Nah, Shanker wasn't pissed. Tracy Guns was really pissed.
You guys got in a fight?
But I think, he got really pissed. He got unhinged about it, and I really think it was because he wanted to leave too, because he was very conscious of being good too. He came from a good band. He was playing a good band.
Yeah.
But this wasn't, But he had a chance to redeem himself. I never had a chance to redeem. I couldn't bring my band outside and play against Contraband. He could.
Yeah, he could kill.
Yeah, he could kill. Yeah. Everybody could kill. Shanker could kill because Shanker was playing with Rad. He'd come on and do a song with Rad too.
Wow.
So he got to kill. Everybody got to kill, but me.
Yeah.
And I got the leftovers. I got sloppy seconds. You know what I mean? It was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Oh, I said the F word.
No, you can say
I just dropped an F bomb.
No, you can say fuck on this. Anything goes on this. Dude, this is fucking all out.
Okay.
You know what? I wanted to say one thing. It's funny because I've had Tracy on a few times, and he is a completely different man now and an amazing human. And I think that if you guys talk now, you'd both fucking laugh at it and be like, that was terrible. Because he has no negative feelings on it at all. And,
Well, I don't. I mean, I think it was just a very emotional time for everyone, even for him too.
It was an end of an era.
It was probably very embarrassing for him too. It had to be.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing for anybody that was on stage playing this ghost band, Contraband. It was an embarrassment for everyone. I guarantee it.
No chemistry.
There was no chemistry. There was no rehearsal. There was no finesse. There was nothing. It was nothing at all holding any of it together. So I know that everybody that went up and played the charade knew it. They all knew it. And I think the only reason anybody got pissed off was because they wanted to do it first. And I just said it. And I warned her. I said, but it ended up being a really hard thing to recover from. Really hard.
From the industry?
I was like blackballed for a long time.
Verbally, did they call up and say you're never working again in town? Yeah. And it really happened?
You'll never play this town. You'll never play music again.
And that really happened.
Like TV, like something like a sitcom on television. Not a sitcom, but a drama on TV.
Right.
It was like they was spelled out that clearly. It was just like, and I go, oh really? I mean, I didn't know what to do at that point. And then I come back from that crap. And my band is like, what the hell did you do that for? It's just like, what do you mean what I do that for? I go, Don't you realize that there's no second album? You guys are just jerking off here. There's nothing planned for a second album. Nothing was going to happen. This was going to go on as long as they can milk it. You guys, they were already getting like studio work for Spencer to work with MSG, and this bass player doing studio work. They were already dividing it up and giving everybody side jobs. There was nothing. There was nothing there anymore. I wasn't there. It was a dead end, you guys. But it was never. It ended up being really a kind of just a dark cloud, and it was like almost like I did something. Well, I did. It was the coup de grace, so to like they say, I did, throw the final punch, but it was at a cost.
Yeah,
it was at a big cost. I don't know really, even sitting right now and thinking back on it, I don't know if there was another way to get out of it or another way to handle it. Maybe I shouldn't have even agreed to do the show from the onset. If I didn't see if it wasn't being demonstrated to me that this band is going to be serious and they're going to rehearse it, and if I can't see that, I'm not even going to begin. I'm not even going to get on the plane. I should have stopped that, but I have to rewind it even more. I shouldn't have left Epic. I should have fired the manager.
Yeah,
that's what I should have done. But you see, these are all these little mistakes that I learn along the way. But you didn't know. I didn't get the book. I didn't read the book.
There is no book in show business.
Exactly, there isn't.
And it's amazing. What I love about you here is that you're talking about your mistakes, and I love it because I've had a lot of guys on this couch, and they don't cop to their mistakes. And I've made many mistakes in my life, but they're all live and learn, and they're also human mistakes. And they're, like you said, there's no guide in rock and roll.
Right.
And to think, if you really peeled it back and you thought about a couple guys sitting around there like, well, here's what we're going to do. Fuck it. Let's get them out of this Epic deal. We'll just put out this contraband record with some names. We'll make a quick 2-3 mil. Who gives a fuck about these guys?
Right.
Grunge is coming. This genre's over. We'll grab a quick 2 mil. Then we'll find a new Soundgarden and keep moving.
Exactly.
Those are just people, and nobody cares about people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's right.
If you really looked at it on paper, because you're fucked either way. Either you say no to the Shanker thing and stuff and your band, or you go out and it's horrible for a month, and the audience says no to you for your rest of your life. Either way,
Right.
you were fucked.
Right. So that means we need to rewind it and find where was the mistake actually.
Yeah.
The mistake actually occurred a long time before. It was that thing with the Epic. I should not have left the Epic. I should have fired the manager immediately.
Yep.
And one could probably debate whether or not I should have, even capitulated to A&M and their demands, even back then.
Well, that's where I think the real problem happens if we look at it right now, because you had a great draw. You had a great record. Maybe it didn't sound like you wanted or whatever. You had great songs, and you were building with Walt and the other guy and Spencer, and now you're thinking, we could just keep going. At least you would have went like, we rode it all the way till the wheels fell off. But I also understand what it's like of being in the biz for years and watching guys pass by, and you're going, wow, what's going on here? And then you start making decisions that are wrong. And that's just human error.
Right.
And that's going to happen,
Make deals with the devil, right? That's it.
After that, you come home and you disappear for a long time, right?
Well, I had a nervous breakdown. You got to think about it, that for everything that I've done, we've talked for a while here. Go back to Pretty Poison and the cocaine and the spandex, and this new outfit and that new outfit, and the shows and the flyers and the Gazaris and the 6 days a week and the 4 shows a night and the dancing and the video stealing and the this and all that, and the world tours and the promo tours and then nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
No record deal, no manager,
no band,
nothing.
No girl,
and a threat that you'll never play again.
Wow.
To go, and I'm just sitting there going, "Oh my God, how am I going to recover?"
And only 10 years of your life, but 10 of the most vital,
critical years. They were critical years. And
what do? You have a breakdown?
Yeah, I have a breakdown. I literally didn't leave the house for like 8 months. Didn't leave.
Wow. How now? You had to have no money, right?
Well, I had some money. We had some
publishing.
I had some publishing money coming in, and some record sales and stuff. And then we had advanced money that was still not completely run out. And you're trying to live. You dial your whole lifestyle back and try to make it last as much as you can, and sponge off your girlfriend and try to try to maintain. But it was horrifying.
You just sat in the house?
Yeah, just horrifying. Just watch TV and just drink and just kind of go, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I mean, I couldn't imagine starting over again.
Right.
To do, I'm going to start over. What am I going to go? And already at that point, people are like, trying to get, bandmates, together. Yeah, it's almost like a lost.
Now we're talking 1990, a whole new thing's coming.
A whole new thing's
Alice
coming.
in Chains, Nirvana.
Yeah. And, a well-defined style,
Yeah.
It was kind of resembled an anti-style, but it was just a masquerade.
Which is a style.
It was no style is style, like Bruce Lee said, right? But you have a perfectly ripped jeans, in the right spot, in the right beanie on your head, and it was really in a lot of ways the same shit with a different outfit on, but still, to try to to rebuild everything, gosh, I mean, what am I going to do? Am I going to go put posters up on Laurel Canyon again?
30 years old now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm probably 33.
Right.
At this point, yeah. And I was just kind of going, well, I just don't even want to do it anymore. I don't even have the energy. And, it was easier when you were younger to be, you could
bounce back.
You could bounce back. You could sleep on couches, you can do certain things, sleep in your car if you need to. But at some point you're going like, gosh, I mean,
it's hard to go backwards.
It's hard to go backwards and start over.
And also you lose the hunger, like I always have the fierce drive and the hunger, but you start to lose not the hunger, but the energy to put into it. You go, well, I got to find another fucking bass player.
Right.
Like, to me, it was always drummers.
It's true.
In a Spinal Tap way.
Yeah, it is.
And
drummers are, yeah.
You have a couple great drummers in your life, and then all the other ones are a bummer because you're going, man, when we had such and such, we fucking sounded amazing. And people don't understand how much the drummer means to the band.
The drummer's a very, very important member.
So 8 months goes by. And what do you do? Do you get a job?
Well, I actually started to do I was a metal sculptor. I started doing sculpting.
Really?
Yeah, because I had during my younger years and during this whole time as a hobby, I used to work on cars and stuff. I know how to work on cars. I know how to weld, and I know
shit.
I know how to do like all that stuff. And I rebuilt a couple cars, and on the weekends, it was very kind of zen for me to do this.
What kind of cars were you doing? Like muscle cars?
Mostly like old Jaguars and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
With the fucking independent rear ends, the hot dog looking ones and shit?
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't look like a big sneaker,
Yeah, I love that car.
Yeah. So I've been doing that over throughout my year. So I kind of knew, and I knew how I knew how to weld because of it and this and that. And I started to go to like art shows and seeing these sculptors and go, I could probably do something like that, make something like that. So I started to do metal sculptor, and I used to have a bunch of stuff, and I used to go to the shows and and set up and my stuff and sell it and stuff like that. So I went from metal to metal, doing that.
I can imagine you making something, and then once in a while just doing the snake dance over to the other side with the welder, and then a snake.
Right.
Hey, that's like almost like a good movie where the kid's looking through, and he's like, "Hey, man. Are you Richard Black?" Because he saw you do a snake. You go, "No, get out of here. Fuck you." No, I saw you do the move. You know what I mean?
Right. So I did that to make money, and because of that, I got into this group of people that were dealing with like antiques and stuff, and I was like doing these like period type. This was essentially a day job, right? I didn't want to do music anymore. It was this was something that didn't require me to. It was, dirty work for honest pay, hey, I got to make ends meet. I got to do something, and that's what I did for, quite some time. And then it, had to get some, when that was slow, I had to get some, jobs here and there to try to do. And then it's, it doesn't take long to realize, God, wow, it's kind of sad, and I kind of feel for everybody, but you know what? I've been there, and I know it. I know what it is. I know it. I know the thing that people have to go through. I've done it enough to realize it, and it's sometimes some people don't mind. Some people it's just heartbreaking because they don't know. They feel like life has passed them by, and now they have to do this. They have
a job.
They have to prostitute themselves and do something else just to perpetuate a family or doesn't that. I mean, I understand all that, but I am an entertainer, and I'm there to give you a couple, an hour or two of relief from your life and give you somewhere to go, and then I kind of stopped doing that, and I went. I ran into a guy who talked me into releasing a new record. He said, you got a lot of songs. I go, yeah, I know. We got a lot of songs.
Yeah.
We got a lot of songs. He goes, why? He goes, I wanna produce, executive produce a new album. Let's do it. And he kind of talked me into it. I went, I don't know if I'll be able to get everybody together, but I was able to get Spencer. Spencer was living in Germany at the time.
Wow.
Chris, the bass player, living in England, and the drummer he had kind of quit this genre of music and started doing, tribal drums, whatever. And so I got Glenn Sobel to do the drums, and we put together a record. That's this one here, by the way.
Man, I love this record.
Do you have that?
Well, I got it on iTunes.
You can have it hard cover.
I'll tell you what.
Because it's a visually beautiful as well.
Well, let me talk about this record first of all. The Stranger is fucking great. I hear The Stranger and I go right away, wow, this is a classic Shark Island sound.
It is.
But the one that really rocks me is Looking for the Sun, Into Heaven. It's got the long fucking droney thing into it. This record is great, man. I want to tell everybody it's called Gathering of the Faithful, and it came out in 2007, I believe.
Yeah, I think
and it is fucking great, man.
And it was,
really
and it was never really properly released, and that's the last thing we really did. And now we're working on a brand new record that's let's
talk about that
and as well.
Is Spencer in the band?
Well, no, Spencer's not in the band. I started working on it, and I was trying to get him involved, and he was really kind of reserved by the idea. Didn't really want to do it, and I kind of browbeat him into like, come on, let's just do it. And we were sending tracks, over the internet, and he would do some tracks.
Is he still in Germany?
Yeah, he's still
What's
in Germany.
What's he doing there?
He has a family, 3 kids, and he's just kind of hanging low, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's not really into music that much more than maybe, teaching or something, or maybe doing I don't know what. But anyway, so it was difficult to try to, recording something over the internet. It sounds easy enough, but to have to wait for a week to hear something, and then you hear it, and then make a comment on it, and go back and forth, and it could take a while. And it wasn't as hard, and he got kind of discouraged, and he didn't want to even do it anymore. He said,
right.
I really don't want to do the whole Shark Island thing anymore. He says, you just take it and take my part of it and just go with it. And I said, well, okay. At this point, I was kind of invested, because I was doing the, I started doing some shows, and I started, going, wow, this could be kind of nice. I could really do this. I'm a different person now, really. I mean, I essentially am the same. I'm essentially the same, but I have a much more clear head now, and I'm much more focused. I'm not I don't think of him as immaturely.
Some of the anger's gone.
Yeah. It's a lot more organized, I think, now. And I mean, the show's not, but the approach, the other stuff leading up to it is a lot more controlled and a lot more thought out. So I called. I started to do a project. Like I said, we started recording a couple songs that I had never finished, and I was trying to put together a 6-song record. It was just kind of like a romantic little project, really. I didn't think that much about it, really. I didn't know where it was going to go, or what I didn't know how I was going to even do it. But the main thing was I needed to record it. So me and a friend of mine started recording, and that dovetails in what I was telling you earlier,
right.
when I realized I was over my head.
Oh yeah. I got you. The demos. Yeah.
So, I had these 3 songs that I did with Bourgeois Pigs with Michael Guy, yeah. And I wanted to do a re-recording of these 3 songs. So I get in contact with Michael, and Michael starts getting very interested and wants to be a part of the project. And I didn't have really a band, he was really like adamant about me. He says, you know, I really want to be a part of this and stuff. And I said, well, all right. So he has the ability and the wherewithal to actually, you know, re-record it. And I was using the band that I had from Croatia to do my backing up to this point.
Right.
But I couldn't. There was no way of getting any, you know, moving that forward because of visas and immigration and that. It was just a big mess. And I was actually getting along really, really well with Michael. I was just going, wow, this is really good. And Michael we have a history together. We have done several projects. You know, he's played with Shark Island, you know, long time ago, and then the Bourgeois Pigs and another project that we kind of did. So we ended up, you know, really kind of partnering up and saying, you know, we could essentially do this whole thing, you know, both of us together. And we started to re-record the album completely from scratch. So
in Oregon.
Yeah, in Oregon.
And then his wife is the one that contacted me, right?
Right.
What a fucking godsend to her. Shout out.
Yeah, she is.
Unbelievable.
Shout out to Kelly.
She set it up.
Yeah, she's like really, really into it. And it's nice to have somebody that's into it from a personal level rather than just a financial level. I mean, you can go out and hire yourself a promoter,
publicist,
a publicist or something, and you're just kind of going, you know, that it's just a job to them. You know, it's just a somebody that's really that really likes the project. That's the best you can ask for, and that goes for everything. That goes for the guitar player and the bass player and the drummer. Somebody that really likes it. You know, that's where trying to find. Vetting people right now to take over the various things because the show needs to be done. Our vetting really revolves largely around finding somebody that is genuinely into this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a financial component to it, of course, but I'm not interested in just getting somebody that's going to learn something just because they're going to get a paycheck. You know,
yeah. I got a bass player for you.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah, because he loves you. And,
all right. Well, you can tell me about it later.
Because he was like, I can't believe you fucking got him on the show. You know, like 2 weeks ago when I heard he would be great with you. And he is a star, too.
Oh, okay.
You know? But, so you're recording the record. You're doing Monsters of Rock Cruise.
Right.
And that's what got my gears rolling again. I was like, wait a minute, he's out there. I've got to get him on.
Yeah, it's really weird. I've been you know asked you know here and there about Monsters of Rock, and when I first heard about it, it was a few years ago, and I went, play on a boat. It didn't ring very well to me at first. I've never heard of it. You know, I didn't know, and to me it sounded like like that's something that. You know, our parents used to do. They'll go and see their, go see Paul Anka on a boat somewhere.
A shuffleboard and some fucking Captain and Tennille.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And I was going, I don't know. That doesn't sound too much fun to me. And I don't really like boats, you know. I mean, not really. But then all of a sudden when it started coming together and I started learning more about what it was, I go, well, okay, let's do it, you know, and there's other shows beyond that. I'd like to do some festivals and stuff, but this is kind of like the price of admission to get on, you know, different, you know, tours and whatnot. So, anytime, you know, you meet other people that out of your circle and, you know, there's other avenues open up for you. So
I just think it's amazing that you're back out there.
No, I'm amazed.
Are you doing the moves?
Sure.
I got one question I think that always wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
When you do Paris is Burning, or Paris is Calling, Paris is Burning.
Yeah,
it's Docking.
Yeah, that's a
Paris
Exciter,
is
actually.
Huh?
That's an Exciter song, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Before Docking, yeah. It was on George Lynch was in a band called Exciter, and they played Paris is Burning.
That's a great song.
Okay,
but when you do Paris is Calling, the video, did you on purpose down throttle your persona, your image? Because here I was talking about you for years and nobody ever saw you, and I go, all right, here's the video, and then I was like, oh, what happened?
Nothing there, right?
Nothing.
No, I know.
What happened?
Well,
there?
that was one of those corporate things that happened. You know, it's like it went from Epic Records, and it was all a big formula. So you get signed, you record, you do a video. Oh, we do videos with this guy, and the guy that does the videos does this video and that video and that video. He doesn't even know about the band. So what he was promoting in the video and in the edit was like a band, like Warrant or whatever.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It was just faces.
Yeah, there was nothing. There's no
front
There was
man
more
there.
people doing it. There was nothing there. And I would love to. I wonder if there's anyone knows where the raw footage is of that video.
You were doing all the full front man?
Everything. I spent 2 days doing everything. I was exhausted. And then when I saw the final product, I said, what the hell's this?
It's just a shot of your face, and sometimes you're wearing like the
nothing.
the headset mic. Is that on the second video?
Yeah, on the second video.
Yeah. But in both of them, you're like, where's the moves?
Right.
Where's the fucking outfits?
Exactly. I get reprimanded by Michael all the time. Well, I don't know what they do to you. I mean, you know what? Hey, it's that desperate component again. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Hey, I had to fight to get Paris Calling on. Is that an indicator of the uphill battle it was to do something? Can you imagine? Hey, I want to re-edit the video because you left out my shtick. For crying out loud.
I mean, here we are. We're ready to see the.
Right.
It's like going to Mount Rushmore and the lights are off. You're like, that's just a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm ready, and I'm gathered around on the couch. Yeah, here's the premiere of the video, and what the fuck? They're like, that's the front man you've been talking about for 5 years. It's like,
it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's horrible. Imagine how I feel.
Yeah,
It was very disappointing.
I can't thank you enough for doing this show.
Not at all. Thank you.
I mean, it means so much to me, and you're a very special guest for this show. And monumental to me, and I really can't tell you how much I think of, like I said, the caliber of showmanship has always stuck with me. You know?
That's really kind of you to say it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm glad you're here.
You've got some Facebook. It's Shark Island Music. Is that right?
Yeah, Shark Island Music on Facebook, and then also sharkislandmusic.com. on our website, which is being completely revamped because of the new lineup.
Badass.
We have a temporary thing in there right now just to fill up the space. We with the brand new company, everything's being redrawn, and we're shooting to have everything kind of complete by the cruise.
When is the cruise?
It's on October 1st.
Is it sold out?
Yeah, it's sold. It's been
Who's
sold out.
on that with you?
Oh God, there's like 25 bands.
But like some big bands, I mean.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, you can look it up. It's the West Coast 2016 tour, and we got on late, so they didn't even put our picture on it. But
that's all right.
We're playing.
You're on though. You're out playing.
So it doesn't matter. So we're there. The passengers are captives for 5 days, right? So
yeah.
Right.
You do Read My Lips in the set?
I don't know.
God,
I don't know
damn
yet.
it!
We should do that? You think we should do that? Okay.
How about Deja Vu?
I think we're gonna do Puss in Boots for sure.
Yeah, of course.
We're gonna for sure do Puss in Boots.
Deja Vu.
The thing is that we have like 6 new songs we really want to launch.
I hear you.
So, I mean, I like to try to represent all the albums to some degree, but at the same time, I got this new stuff right now. I mean, I got a new chapter really in the band in my life right now, and I got these new songs. And the new album is really quite heavy.
Oh, I heard it's killer.
It's a lot different than the rest of it. I mean, this one, I'm gathering that Faithful was a little on
some
the
of it's
slow
heavy
side.
though.
Some of it's heavy.
Yeah, like The Stranger.
Yeah.
And Heaven. Those are they're heavy.
Yeah, this next one says is pretty it's pretty good. So
Need Your Love's killer.
Yeah,
Need for Love. I mean, Need Your Love.
Yeah, right.
Killer, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of great little gems on that one too. So,
well, you're a great songwriter, man.
Well, thank you.
All right, so are you any LA date?
You know what? There's going to be a show a few days before we hit on the tour.
Yeah,
it's going to be like a trial run.
Where at?
It's going to probably be in the Valley at a soundstage.
Oh, I got to go.
You know what? I'll make sure you be there.
Oh, I got to see that.
You'll be there.
I will not miss that, and I'll turn you on to my bass player, buddy.
Okay.
And thank you so much for doing the show.
Thanks. Tim.
And also, a lot of the stuff's on iTunes. immediately hit it up. You can get the newest record. You can get the Epic record. You can get the live at the Whisky, which is Live 89. You brought me the vinyl of that,
Right.
and I can't thank you enough. I'm going to put that on. I've been listening to that. The sound quality is incredible.
It's great.
It's great.
When I heard that, like I said, I mentioned to you when I first got here, when we had already finished Law of the Order, and then we did this, and when I heard it, I said, "My God, this will give the album a run for its money." I go, "Let's release this instead of Law of the Order." Oh no, we can't do that. That's never been done. And it was that type of corporate nonsense and reasoning that it was very difficult to navigate through that.
So non-rock.
Yeah.
It's so funny to be in rock and the guys that run it are so non-rock.
I know.
It's like if you played rock and some football guys were your managers,
Right.
that's the juxtapose, the
Right.
difference of like Suits and rock. It's always gross to me. It's always gross.
It is gross. It is really gross. And the thing is that a lot of them they don't really even know. They're just going along with something and following someone.
They don't know.
Following some. They have no idea. Yet at the time, they were really in control of your career. I mean, but today things are different. Record companies almost obsolete, really, for the most part.
Fuck, man. What a great interview.
Oh, good.
Great interview.
It was fun. It was really fun.
Great.
Thank you.
Real quick, are you into comedy?
Yes, of course I am.
That's great.
Yeah.
I can tell you did a little research on me, because you were like, your motorcycle crash and stuff.
Right.
You got to come see
I'm
me.
a rider too, so I heard about it.
Oh, yeah, you ride?
I didn't. I ride
what do you
a lot.
ride?
Well, right now I ride, believe it or not, I ride a Buell.
Oh, that's great.
Ulysses. It's like really,
Eric Buell, man.
It's kind of a Harley Davidson's evil sister.
Yeah.
And
Eric Buell invented the best Harley ever made, the FXR.
Exactly. Yeah.
Holy shit, you ride.
I ride a lot. I ride like 10,000 miles a year. I ride a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm
How long you been riding?
Oh, since I was 18. I'd ride a lot. I've had Harleys, and I've had Kawasaki's, and I've had Suzuki's, and now I have this Buell, which is like the perfect thing for me. I'm so bummed that they stopped making them, because it's a very quirky bike, but man, if you ever get a chance to ride one of those.
Which model you got?
It's called a Ulysses.
Oh yeah, I know. It's the kind of one that looks like a Beamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a GS.
It's a 1200.
Yeah,
and,
the Sportster motor.
6 inches of travel, and it started off as a Sportster motor, but the only thing that's really in common are the cylinder.
So that's it.
The cylinder,
the rocker boxes.
Yeah, everything else is completely.
Oh, I know the Ulysses. That's a great bike.
It's just such a joy to ride. The suspension on it is like great, and
I can't believe you ride.
Heck yeah,
that is dope.
Oh, heck yeah, I ride.
Did you ride here today?
Seriously, no, it's too hot to ride.
Yeah, right. It is hot. It's cooking, right?
I have the air conditioner.
Yeah. Wow, you ride, man.
I
we got to
ride.
go for a ride.
I will love to go for a ride.
That would be fucking
You name it, I'll go anytime.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And man, what an epic day. And I'll be talking about it for a long time.
Right on.
And thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. That was really
I appreciate
great.
it.
It was a really fun time.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you later.